Summary. When Naruto is attacked by villagers and shinobi, he awakens 3 dormant bloodlines within his family. He is saved from going insane when he meets his father, and after waking up a girl that gives him water when he is on the verge of passing out. He vows to not only become Hokage, but protect this girl from anyone who wants to hurt her. Chapter 1. October 10th. A 6-year-old Uzumaki Naruto was running for his life. He was currently running from a mob of crazed villagers. It was the Kyuubi festival, the holiday for when the 4th Hokage, Namikaze Minato, defeated the 9-tailed demon fox 6 years ago. Naruto had a white and red fox mask on, running for his life. His red hair matched perfectly with the red markings on the mask, and his azure eyes contrasted with the red of his hair on the mask. The villagers had knives out ready to kill the so-called demon that had plagued the Leaf for the past 6 years. Die demon, one yelled. Shit, shit, shit. The young Uzumaki yelled in his mind. Naruto turned on an alley hoping he would be able to climb the pipe he would usually find on the side of the building to get to his crusty and run-down apartment. Unfortunately, Cammy wasn't on his side this night, and he guessed that tonight would be the night they would catch him. Across the street, a young 6-year-old lavender-eyed girl watched as he ran into the alley, concerned for his safety as she saw the mob follow him into the darkness in the alley. As Naruto saw the wall that blocked his path to freedom, he turned around and his eyes widened. There had to be at least 20 of them. Worst of all, he could see shinobi among the crowd. Those people were the ones who were supposed to protect the people of the village. Those people should be protecting him from the ignorant civilians in front of him. This is for my brother, demon, one of the Chunin yelled. Naruto didn't even have time to scream before he passed out. As Naruto opened his eyes, he saw that he was in a damp corridor. Hello? The 6-year-old asked no one in particular. Kid, said a deep yet calm voice, follow my voice. Naruto listened to where the voice was coming from and saw a light in one end of the corridor. He followed the voice and went towards the light at the end of the corridor. As he got out of the light, he realized he was in a giant sewer. He looked to the other end and saw a giant cage about the size of the Hokage mountain. Kid, look up, a chuckling voice said. As Naruto looked up, he saw a toothy smile and a pair of red slitted eyes. As the figure came closer, Naruto could make out the shape of a giant 9-tailed fox. Aryuth the KKQB, exclaimed Naruto. Not Kid, I'm the Easter Bunny. Of course I'm QB, the obviously annoyed fox said. Sorry, said the redhead solemnly. Naruto then realized the extent of where he was and what he was in front of. Wait, where am I and how are you here? Yondaime killed you. Well, first off, we're in the seal on your gut, a soft voice said behind Naruto. As Naruto heard the voice, he turned around and felt a gentle hand ruffle his head. He looked and saw the same azure eyes that he had and the same spiky hair that he had, but this man's was gold. Why Yondaime? Naruto asked. What? Don't even know the name of your old man? The deceased Hokage asked. It's Namikaze Minato, kid. Naruto's eyes widened and they started tearing up. D-Dad. Naruto hugged Minato and cried into his shirt. Minato hugged the crying boy with a smile on his face. Naruto, we need to talk. It's about your heritage and your bloodlines you've inherited. B bloodlines? I have those. What? You think your mom was just a civilian? I have a dormant Kekkei Jinkai as well. Of course that means I wasn't able to activate it. But you already have. And you've activated the dormant bloodlines on your mother's side as well. What do you mean I've activated my bloodlines? I don't feel any different, although I do feel a little heavier. Naruto replied. That's the first of 3 that you will activate. What is it? It is a bloodline that some Uzumaki shared with a clan in Kirigakure known as Shikatsumiyaku. You are able to use your bones as weapons, and many of those who used it in the Uzumaki clan were as good at Kenjutsu as their clansmen who never activated the Kekkei Jinkai. Wow. Do you think I can get that, good dad? Well, it is in your blood. And what about the other 2? Well, the second also comes from the Uzumaki as well. It amplifies your chakra nature to its highest ability. I believe yours is wind and fire. Wind coming from me, and fire, your mother the Red Death. She didn't activate either Kekkei Jinkai, but she did have special chakra that she could make chains out of. Your wind chakra will be as strong as a tornado, and your fire will be as hot as the sun. So it will be black just like the Amaterasu of the Uchiha clan. Wow. I didn't know I was so cool, said Naruto. So what's the third one? Your third bloodline comes from your great-grandmother. She belonged to a clan from the Warring States period. It has remained dormant until now, when you were able to activate it. That's cool, but what is it? Look down. As Naruto looked down into the water of the sewer below, his eyes widened. The sclera of his eyes were blood red, his irises were black, and his pupils were a purple-red shape like a rectangle. What is this? That Naruto is the dojutsu of the Chinoi clan, the Ketsuryugen. So Bakon was a part of this clan? Yes, Naruto she was. Wow. I need to start studying this stuff. Don't worry, you'll study the basic clans and bloodlines during the academy. Anyways, Naruto, my time is running short and I'll be leaving soon. No, I just met you. You can't leave already. I'm sorry, son, but I only put a fraction of my chakra in here in case of a last resort, and I needed to talk to you. I have a last request for you, Kyuubi. Please take care of my son and look after him. As Minato said this, he removed the seal from the Kyuubi's cage and a wave of red chakra came out. Of course, Yondaime, anything for Kushina's kid, said the Kyuubi. How can I trust you? You attacked Konoha. You're the reason I get attacked. Naruto, listen to me. When the Kyuubi attacked Konoha, he was being controlled by the Sharingan. I need you to trust him, please. All right, Dad, Naruto said. Very well. Goodbye, my son. Minato said as Naruto blacked out and went back to the real world. As Naruto came back, he started feeling the pain of the stabs and the punching of villagers. While he was being swarmed, the villagers on top of him would meet their fate and were stabbed by bones that came out of his back. Those who were still alive were met with the eyes of the Chinoike and a dragon made of the pool of blood that Naruto had created. Blood Dragon Ascension. Naruto yelled. Those who were hit were either smashed into the wall or knocked out by the wave of the thick liquid hitting them. As Naruto's eyes changed back to the sad azure ones from before, he realized what he had done and started weeping. He started to hear soft footsteps coming towards him. The person had to be no older than him. He looked up and saw what must have been an angel. It was a girl, about his age, with short dark blue hair, pale skin, and lavender eyes. He couldn't stop the blush that crept onto his face. When the girl saw him, her eyes widened and she ran back towards the festival. Naruto looked down. It was always the same. A curious kid would come and see what happened and run away when they saw a bloodied-up kid. Naruto's eyes widened as he heard the same footsteps coming towards him. However, this time it was more frantic. The same girl came running towards him with a jug of water and a wooden box. She helped him drink the water, and the same blush reappeared on his face. Lady Hinata, a voice called. The now-named Hinata looked back as she finished helping Naruto with the water and put the wooden box down next to him. She got up and with a bow went back to where she was called. Naruto was astonished. Nobody had ever helped him, let alone a kid. He knew as soon as he heard her name that she was of Konoha royalty. He remembered a big clan in Konoha with lavender eyes and a dojutsu like him. Right then he had a new goal along with becoming Hokage. He would protect his girl from the shadows and protect her from anyone who wanted to hurt her. Chapter 2. 6 months later. Over the next few months after Naruto met Yondaime and the attack, he started to study seals and work on his kenjutsu since they don't go over more complicated subjects until the last year of the academy. He was able to get scrolls on seals and kenjutsu and was able to complete a low-level storage seal and a low-level explosive node. When practicing kenjutsu, he would use wooden swords because if people saw the demon brat swinging around bone swords, some people may jump to the conclusion. He studied his father's seals and his mother's kenjutsu style when he was able to get the keys to their estate. Flashback. Naruto had just been picked up by the Umbu and was currently sitting in the Hokage office with the third Hokage. Naruto, how are you feeling? I'm okay, Gigi. I just feel betrayed, since some of them were shinobi, and they should be protecting me, not trying to kill me. Don't worry, Naruto. The Umbu have already detained the shinobi and civilians who did this to you. Thanks, Gigi, but I want to talk to you about something personal. So can you send the Umbu out? If Sarutobi was surprised, he didn't show it, but just made a motion with his hand, and the Umbu left. Thanks, Gigi. Now, Naruto said as he walked up to the picture of the Yondaime. Got anything to say? Sarutobi was gobsmacked. How? Well, when those civilians attacked me, I blacked out and woke up in the Kyuubi seal where I met Dad and the Kyuubi. He told me that I unlocked 3 of the dormant bloodlines in my family. Oh, and he told me that Kyuubi wasn't responsible for the attack and was being controlled by the Sharingan. Are you sure we can trust it? Well, first of all, Kyuubi's a Hinata in it. And second, I would say yes since the seal is open and he hasn't taken control. It's safe to say that once Sarutobi heard that the seal was open, he fainted. And he says he's not old. Naruto said with a sweat dropped. It took 10 minutes for the old man to wake up from his state of shock. Gigi, at this rate, you'll be handing the hat over to me in no time. I still have a few years left in me. And I'm glad that you're still dreaming about that. Huh? What do you mean? Why wouldn't that be my dream? Naruto asked. Well, because of your attack today. Don't worry, Gigi. My dream is still strong, along with another goal, he said with a slight blush on his cheek. Mind telling me? Hiruzen asked. Bodyguarding, Naruto said mysteriously. Anyways, I'm sure the professor will figure it out. I'm sure I will, the third responded. Anyways, you think maybe I can get the keys to Mom and Dad's house? 'Cause I kinda want to start knowing how to use my Kekkei Genkai and the other parts of my heritage. Naruto asked. Hiruzen contemplated that for a minute. On one hand, people could find out about Naruto's parents and they could come after him. And on another hand, it could help him if he started studying early so he could protect himself. Very well, but make sure nobody sees you, said the old Hokage. Thanks, Gigi. Flashback end. It had been a good idea for Sarutobi to give Naruto his parents' estate. It had its own training ground, library, and hot springs. Naruto, after all his training, was now able to evade the mobs if they were getting gathered. That's not to say all was well. They might not have attacked him, but they didn't completely ignore the young redhead either. They threw trash at him, glared at him, and whispered behind his back. That's what hurt the most, not being accepted. Damn it, Q. Stop healing me. Please. Naruto cried. Shut it, Gaki. I won't have you cutting yourself and letting you feel the pain. Yelled back the fox. Naruto had taken to harming himself just to let all the anger and sadness out of his system. Please, let me feel the pain. I just need to let it out, said Naruto. Kid, listen to me, said the fox. I know it's hard. Trust me, believe it or not, but I've felt all the emotions you are feeling before. And trust me, this isn't the way. I'll think about it. That's all you need to do, kid, said the QB. I'm going out. 1 hour later, Naruto had made it to the nicer part of town and was passing by many of the clan compounds. When he made it to the Hyuga compound, he began to pick up negative emotion. That was one of the powers he got when he and the QB merged. He also got a higher sense and sight on par, if not better than in Inuzuka's, and his iris now had the cat-like slick, with his pupils still being the azure from his dad. As he pinpointed where he found the negative emotion, he saw a man dressed in black with a sack on his back running away from the compound. He identified the chakra signature as Hinata, the girl who had helped him on his birthday. His eyes widened and he went after the man. The kidnapper sensed Naruto's chakra and turns around to see a redhead no older than 7 glaring at him with malice in his eyes. Go home, kid, and I'll leave you alive, the man said. It was then when he realized the color of his hair. So, you're an Uzumaki. I guess the boss will want you as well. He saw the boy make hand signs for a jutsu. Katan, Gokaku no Jutsu. The man's lone eye widened as a black fireball came towards him with immense speed. He moved out of the way just in time to dodge the raging blue ball. What the hell is that? He thought. He dropped that sack that Hinata was in and decided to fight. Fine, kid. Wanna fight? Let's fight. Raiden. Saitiki Suji no Jutsu. Lightning came out of the kidnapper's fingers and hit Naruto in the chest. He watched as the boy fell to the ground after getting 10 lightning bolts to the heart. Sure, they're small, but that'll put anyone into cardiac arrest. Sorry, Gaki, but that's why you don't mess with Jounin, the Nin thought. As he looked down onto the boy's face, his face turned into one of fear as he saw 2 slitted red eyes open and a killing intent so powerful you could feel it. Takumo and back focused on him. He didn't have time to think as a clawed hand scratched his face first and then slit his throat. After the man was dead, the killing intent was gone as sudden as it came. Naruto walked over to the sack with Hinata. He untied the rope and saw the face of the angel that had saved him from possible insanity. She was unconscious, probably from the high killing intent. He heard several pairs of frantic footsteps come his way, and he went to hide in the nearby trees. He was able to make out the conversation that came out. H. Hayashi-sama? Who do you think did this? Asked a branch member. I'm not sure, but it seems that whoever did this was a monster, Hayashi replied. Now get my disappointment of a daughter back to the compound. Naruto clenched his fists. Was she supposed to fight and win against a Jounin? He may have done it, but that was only due to the QB and the element of surprise that he had won. How could he expect so much from her, especially at her age? You can't call someone a disappointment when you did nothing to help her, and he was sure he would take all the credit. It doesn't matter right now, at least she's safe. 2 years later, it was the first day of the academy. It was the middle of December and Konoha was getting a lot of snow. Naruto had on blue pants, a tan and red hoodie on with a red scarf. He was on his way towards the academy when he ran into something that made his mood turn upside down. Look at eyes. She must be one of those Hyuga. Yeah, I bet she is. Hey, I bet she's just like that Neji kid. You think you're better than us, don't you? And no, it's and not like TTH that. You're right. Get her. Awk. Leave her alone, yelled Naruto. Hey, you're that kid that my mom tells me to stay away from you. She says you're dangerous, but you're just a punk. The 3 boys started to fight with Naruto, while Hinata stood on the side feeling helpless. She saw that one of the boys was open and she snuck up behind him and pressed a tenketsu on the back of his neck, knocking him out. The other two boys got distracted by this, and Naruto punched one in the temple, knocking him out. The other one saw that he was outnumbered and carried away his friends. Once he left, Naruto fell onto his back, exhausted and bruised. Hinata saw his torn-up scarf and handed over the scarf. Here. Nah, it's okay. Keep it. Hinata-sama, yelled a voice. I need T to G, get G going, Hinata said. All right, see you later, said Naruto. As she left, she took a small wooden box for Naruto and bowed. Naruto gave a gentle smile and looked down at the same box that she had left him those 2.5 years ago. Academy. Since Naruto had to clean up after the fight, he was the last one into class, already adding to his idiot persona. Yes, he had chosen to be the class clown for his own benefit. If people knew how truly smart the demon brat is, a lot of attention would be on him. Attention his idiot persona wouldn't want. Sorry I'm late, sensei, said Naruto as he took off his jacket, showing everyone the Kill Me orange long-sleeve shirt he had underneath. It's all right. We were just about to take attendance. Take a seat. Naruto took a window seat in the top right of the classroom. All right, class. We are about to take attendance. I want you to tell me something about yourself, your likes, your dislikes, and your dreams for the future. Sensei, can you give us an example? Said a pink-haired girl with a big forehead. Yep, that'll be my crush, thought Naruto. Geez, kid, you choose the worst fake crushes, said the QB. That's the point, dumb fox. Very well, class. My name is Umino Irika. I like teaching, training, and Konoha. I dislike loud classes, murderers, and traitors. Dreams for the future? I guess to make you all into amazing shinobi, said Irika. All right, there's your example. Now to attendance. Aburame Shino, a tall boy with glasses, big hair, and in a trench coat stood up. Aburame Shino. I like bugs. I dislike anyone who mistreats bugs. My dream is to be a good clan head, said Shino. Akamichi Choji, a big bone boy in a green jacket, blue pants, and swirls on his cheeks stood up. Hi, Munch. My name is Akamichi Choji. I like Munch, food, my friends, and my family. Munch dash. I dislike people who call me fat, Choji said with sudden seriousness. And my dream is to be a good clan and make my family proud. Good. Haruno Sakura, the same pink-haired girl in a red dress, stood up. Hi. I'm Haruno Sakura. I like my family and dash. She looks at a black-haired boy and squeals. I dislike traitors and perverts. And my dream is dash. Looks over to the same boy and squeals louder. Good. Hyuga Hinata. Hinata stood up. She was wearing a yellow and white jacket with blue pants. Hello. And my name is Hyuga Hinata. L like FF flowers and M medicine. I dislike P people hurt others WW without R reason. My dream is to be a good clan head and get rid of the caged bird seal, she said. At the last part, many people were surprised. Throughout her entire introduction, she had stuttered. But when she announced her dream, she hadn't stuttered once. Good. Inuzuka Kiba, a brash boy with a black hoodie, gray pants, and red fangs on his cheeks stood up. My name is Inuzuka Kiba. I like my pack, dogs, and loyalty. I dislike anyone who makes fun of my pack or breaks my trust. My dream is to be a good clan head and the greatest hunter Nin. Kiba said, good. Narashikamaru, a boy with a pineapple haircut and a lazy look on his face stood up. Asterisk yon asterisk troublesome. I like watching clouds, sleeping, and playing shogi. I dislike anything troublesome or tedious. My dream is to be a good clan head and have an average family. Good. Uchiha Sasuke. At this, many girls squealed and turned to him with hearts in their eyes. My name is Uchiha Sasuke. I like my family. I dislike traitors. My dream is to surpass my brother. Good. Uzumaki Naruto. Hey, my name is Uzumaki Naruto. I like Gigi, Ichiraka Gigi, I am Nichin, and the one who saved me from insanity. I dislike traitors and abusers. My dream is to be the greatest Hokage. Naruto exclaimed. The class just stared. Haha. I know you, said Kiba. Mom told me to be nice to you since you don't have anyone. But hell, you're just a dope if you think you can be Hokage. Yeah. If anyone is going to be Hokage, it'll be Sasuke-kun, said Sakura. Irika was conflicted. He knew who the kid was. He knew he still held the anger at the QB for the death of his parents. But if Sandame trusted him, then he should too. And seeing him getting treated like this reminded him of himself when he was younger. Enough, he yelled. I will not let anyone make fun of someone else in this class, especially about not having family. Now everyone, sit down. At that, everyone who was either laughing or standing back became quiet or sat down. Higi, it's all right, Irika-sensei. I'll just have to become stronger, Naruto said with a fake smile. Irika frowned. He had used that same smile. It also seemed that he had been the only one to pick up on the insanity part of his introduction. All right, Yamanaka Ino. Hi, I'm Yamanaka Ino. I like flowers, my family, and dash. Looks over to Sasuke and squeals. I dislike perverts and forehead, and my dream is dash. Looks at Sasuke and squeals louder. Naruto and Kiba cover their ears in pain, while in Naruto's mind Kurama runs the back of his cage and covers his ears. Asterisk sigh, this is gonna be a long 4 years, thought Irika. After school. Hey, old man, get me a miso and shrimp please. Naruto yelled as he bolted into Ichiraka ramen. Naruto. I am said as she hugged him. How was your first day? It was good, I guess. We just introduced ourselves and went over some of the clan's symbols of Konoha. Oh, okay. Well? I am asked with a sly smirk. Well, what? I think she's asking if that girl of yours is in your class. Tsuchi said. Shut up. I told you already it's not like that. Naruto said with a blush on his face. He did love them like a family, but when they teased them about Hinata, he couldn't help but be annoyed. Yes, he had told them about Hinata. In fact, the third knew about her too. Of course, he had figured it out after a few months of looking at his crystal ball. Naruto had told the Ichirakus himself after slipping up. He wondered if this was what having was like. I know, but it's so cute. I am squealed. Nachan, stop. Naruto said, flushed. Leave the boy alone, I am. Tsuchi sigh. All right. A miso and shrimp ramen for our favorite customer. Thanks for the food, Naruto said as he started to eat. So how's training going, my boy? Asked Tsuchi. It's fine. I finally completed the Phoenix Flower and the Great Breakthrough. I'm trying to work on my Kinjutsu and Jinjutsu right now. Kinjutsu is going well, but I'm having a hard time with Jinjutsu. Seriously, even with my Ketsuryugen, the lowest I can do is a B rank. And I can barely dispel my own, let alone others. Well, hopefully you can get the hang of it soon. I am said. Yeah, hopefully. Naruto said. For years later, the next 4 years went by like a breeze. In those 4 years, Naruto had become second tallest in the class, tied with Sasuke and behind Shino, who was the tallest. He had grown his hair out so that it was now shoulder length and he kept in a ponytail. The entire time Naruto had kept up his idiot persona. However, there was one class where he would always pay attention and show off his knowledge. Hokage history. That was the only thing he would deliberately do well in. Everything else he would be doing bad in. Spars, tests, and other classes. His teachers would comment on this, and he would reply that he needed to know about his predecessors. However, not all good things came with the 4 years in age. As the kids got older, they got more interested in the opposite gender. Of course, the girls in the class started young. The boys who showed this most would be Kiba and Sasuke. They would show their interest in the same girl. This made Naruto furious because of their forcefulness. Not only would they push themselves against her, but it wasn't any girl. It was Hinata. He saw how uncomfortable she was, so at any chance he got, he would cause a scene to distract or stall them until Irika-sensei came back or yelled at the class to sit down. He also wasn't so dense that he didn't notice her feelings. He would love to return them, but he knew the problems he caused, and he was meant to protect her. Day before graduation exams. Naruto, get back here, said Tiger. Baka. You can't even catch a 12-year-old. Gigi should reassign you to Chunin, yelled Naruto as he disappeared in the wind. Where'd he go to? Yelled Kat as they ran by a fence. As soon as they got out of sight, Naruto dropped the tarp he held against the fence. Hiki. Damn Ambiu. Naruto, yelled Irika. What are you doing here? Irika-sensei. You should be in class. No. You should be in class. Irika said as he grabbed Naruto's ear. Ow, 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 ow. Did you get that from Ankonichi-ji's academy? All right. Since Naruto skipped class, you all be going over the hinged no jutsu. Hee. Nice going, kid, said the fox. Shut up, Kurama, said Naruto. Kurama had given Naruto his name a few weeks after beginning the academy. To Yudo Naruto. Asked Naruto. You're up, Irika. Okay, said Naruto with a smirk. Hinge. When the smoke cleared, Irika saw a girl version of his blonde student, but smoke was blocking the more explicit areas. Irika and his assistant, Mizuki, flew black from the nosebleed. That was my Oiroke no Jutsu. Enough games. 2 hours later. All right. Class dismissed. As Naruto left the academy, he went into hiding to activate his jutsu. He made a hand seal, and the wind around him became sharp, and his weight decreased. As he went back to his parents' house, all the civilians saw was a red and orange blur and a strong wind. As Naruto walked into his parents' estate, he got the memories of his clones while he was at the academy. All right, flash tags are done. Nice. I was finally able to get the bones poking out of my knuckles. Cloth healing seal is completed. That's good. Progress on the jutsu is coming nicely. Damn. Still no progress on oration. Dad really is a genius. Wherever the original notes are, he's lucky to have found them. Kid, come in the seal. There's something I want to give you, said Kurama. All right, seal. So what was it that you wanted to give me? Naruto asked. He was standing on a pointed rock facing 3 mountains in a triangle formation and facing a rice field. A few years back he found scrolls from his mother on the Kyuubi seal, and there were notes on changing the scenery. Kyuubi threw a scroll at Naruto. It's the Kitsune summoning scroll. Tomorrow I want to show the mutt what a real animal can do, he said. I'm not summoning your gigantic ass. Shut up, kid. And you won't have to. To summon me in my full form it's worth 1 tail of my chakra. So use 1/9 of a tail from my chakra pool and I'll come out the size of the Gaki's dog with 1 tail. If you want to summon other foxes, use your own chakra, Kurama said. Oh, okay. All right, kid. That's all I wanted to say. Now if you want to live, dodge that kunai. What? Outside the seal. Aya. I know it's you, Konichin. Are you trying to kill me the day before I graduate? Exclaimed the redhead. Haha. Quick as ever, Gaki. I can tell you'll be valuable to Konoha, said Anko. I already am. Naruto responded as he pointed to his stomach. Oh yeah, right, forgot about that. Anyway, I just wanted to tell you good luck tomorrow. The Tokubetsu Jounin said. I will. Naruto said with a foxy grin on his face. Good. Now if you'll excuse me, I have some people to torture, she said with a gleeful smile on her face while releasing killing intent that made Naruto sweat. All right, bye, Naruto said as he pushed her out the door. Later that night. Tomorrow's the day my mask comes off. Got any ideas on what I should do? Walk in there with a calm aura mixed with mine, recommended Kurama. That's not bad. All right, I'll do it. Don't forget the new clothes that you bought. I won't. Academy graduation day. As Irika walked in, he expected loud chatter and needed to use his big head no jutsu. Instead, his class was so quiet he could hear Shikamaru snoring. All right, class. This is your last day as students of mine. I wanted to say that once you become Chunin of Konoha, your lives will never be the same. You will be taking missions that will take you out of the village, and on these missions there is a possibility you will have to take a life. Doing this does not mean you are a bad person. Instead, think about doing it for the greater good of your village and your clients. So without further ado, let's get to attendance. Aburame Shino, here. Akamichi Choji, here. Haruno Sakura, here. Hyuga Hinata, H here. Inazuka Kiba, here. Nara Shikamaru, troublesome, here. Uchiha Sasuke, HN. Yamanaka Ino, here. Uzumaki Naruto. Uzumaki Naruto? Haha. Looks like the dobe fails, said a triumphant Sasuke. Oi, look up. The class looked up and their eyes widened. They saw one Uzumaki Naruto standing on the ceiling. He was wearing a black long-sleeve shirt along with black umbu pants. He had a red unzipped hoodie with black flames on the bottom and sleeves. The hoodie ended where the bottom of his ribs would be, and the hood was black, with the sleeves being long enough to go past his hands. He had on fingerless gloves with metal plates on the back and black ninja sandals. On the top, or should I say bottom, of his head was an Akamaru-sized orange one-tailed fox. Here, Irika-sensei. I knew he was hiding something, thought Irika and a pineapple-haired boy at the same time. Naruto. Stop trying to act cool like Sasuke Kyuin, yelled the pink-haired banshee. Haruno, shut up, said Uzumaki. It was then that everyone noticed his aura. It was calm, but also held something else they couldn't pinpoint. They couldn't tell if it was malice, bore, or glee. They decided to keep their mouths shut for now. HN, Dobe, how are doing that? I demand you tell me and teach me, said Sasuke as he looked up to the redhead. No, was Naruto's simple response. He dropped down in between the row where Kiba and Sasuke were sitting and where Hinata was sitting, stopping them from gazing at her. The shy Hyuga let out a sigh of relief while Kiba growled and Sasuke glared. All right, class, that's enough. If you want to become Chunin, we have to get to the examination. So will all of you quiet down so we can pass out the tests? Mizuki started passing out tests, and as he passed Naruto his test, he gave him a suspicious smile, Naruto giving the same smile back. Naruto noticed that there was a small genjutsu on the test, so with a subtle pulse of his chakra the genjutsu dispersed. 40 minutes later. All right. With everyone finished with their test, we will be moving on to the taijutsu portion of the exams. The class went outside and lined up outside of the taijutsu circle. After a few nameless taijutsu matches, Irika got to the clan heirs. Next, Hyuga Hinata and Yamanaka Ino. Yeah. Get here, Hinata-chan. Kiba called. If you win, I'll give you dash. He suddenly felt a large amount of killing intent directed at him. He turned his head to the left and saw Naruto watching the match. He could sense the killing rolling off of him. What's with the killing intent? Dope? Inuzuka, finish that sentence. Naruto said with a cold glare that made Kiba take an involuntary step back. Kiba tried to respond, but the words died on his tongue, so he just growled and turned back to the match. Winner. Hyuga Hinata, said Irika. As Hinata walked back to where everyone was crowded, she saw Kiba cheering her, and Sasuke giving a sly smile. She put her head back down, but when she looked back up, she saw Naruto giving her a gentle smile, causing her to blush, which in turn caused Kiba and Sasuke to glare at him and give off a small amount of killing intent. Naruto raised his eyebrow. What? HN? What does she see in you? Asked the Uchiha. Why don't you ask her? He responded with a glare that sent shivers down their spines. Uchiha Sasuke and Uzumaki Naruto. At this, every girl besides Hinata screamed and squealed for their Sasuke-kun to win. Once they were both inside the circle, Sasuke pointed at Naruto and said, "You may act different in dress, but you're still the same dope that I've always beat." Naruto did not respond. Fight, announced Irika. Neither Naruto or Sasuke went at each other. For several minutes they just stared. Sasuke eventually had enough and rushed Naruto with kunai. He swung the kunai at Naruto's head, and in the quickest motion Sasuke had ever seen him move, Naruto punched his solar plexus, causing him to double over. Naruto kicked Sasuke's chin, knocking him out. W winner Uzumaki Naruto. Irika exclaimed, "You cheated." Sakura and Ino yelled, causing everyone to cover their ears, but giving Naruto, Kurama, Kiba, and Akamaru lasting damage. Can you scream any louder? Naruto asked. Narut dash, she was about to yell. Enough. Get back to Yo class so we can get to Yo ninjutsu, screamed Irika. Classroom. All right, class. For this part of the exam, you were performing the 3 basic academy jutsu. These are the Hinge no Jutsu, Kawarimi no Jutsu, and Bunshin no Jutsu. Shit. The least I can do is 2. And that takes a lot of control. Sucks to be you, kid. I love my life. I can just sleep all day, Kurama said from the top of his head. Everybody had passed the ninjutsu test, and it was Naruto's turn to take the test. All right, Naruto, please perform the 3 basic jutsu, said Irika. Naruto performed both the Hinge and the Kawarimi no Jutsu perfectly. All right. Just focus. Wait. What is this? Someone is messing with my chakra. Wait. This is Mizuki's. What are you up to? Naruto decided to fail just to see what Mizuki would do to him if he was his idiotic self. Yes, it was a risk, but rather safe than sorry. And with that, Naruto created a dead-looking Bunshin. I don't get it, Naruto. You're able to do the other jutsus easily. So why can't you do this one? Asked Irika. Sorry, Irika-sensei. You know I've never been good at any Bunshins. I'll just have to try next year. Naruto left the classroom with a contemplative look on his face. When he got outside, he saw everyone in the class with their parents. Everyone but one. He saw that Hinata left by herself, and he thought hard about walking with her, but ultimately decided not to, scared of what will happen to her if she was seen with him. Naruto turned around and saw Mizuki, and his eyes narrowed. What is it, sensei? You seem pretty bummed out about failing, so I'll let you in on a secret. Naruto decided to play his part and act his part. A secret? He asked with a tinge of hope in his voice. Yes. There is a second test for those who may be promising, but also failed. And I was nominated? Naruto asked gleefully. Inside his mind, Mizuki was smiling. Same old Naruto. Gullible as always. Yes, you were. What you have to do is steal a big scroll from the Hokage's office and learn 1 jutsu from it. All right. I'll do it, sensei. Good. I have no doubt you'll do it. Hokage's office. Naruto. Hey, old man. So basically, Mizuki-sensei said there was a second test to steal the giant scroll over there and learn 1 jutsu from it. And it's really obvious it's a trap, so I'm gonna take it for a bit to catch him. So sorry about this. Naruto said as he performed Orochimaru no Jutsu and took the scroll. Meeting point. All right. He said to learn 1 jutsu from the scroll. Might as well get to work, thought Naruto. All right, Kage Bunshin. Well, I already know that, but I'll just show him that one. I'll just see what else there is, and if there's one worth copying down, I will. Naruto looked through the scroll until he came upon 2 jutsu. All right. Exploding Kage Bunshin. And no way. This is the original notes of the Hiraishin. This is how Dad did it. Thank you, Mizuki. 2 hours later. There you are, Naruto. Huh? Oh, hey, Irika-sensei, said the redhead. What are you doing stealing the scroll? Are you insane? The irate Chunin questioned. No time to explain, but I think Mizuki will be here soon. Naruto answered. Nice one, Naruto. Mizuki yelled as a volley of kunai and shuriken came at the 2 oblivious ninja. Naruto, look out. Irika yelled. You are Archich. Naruto saw that as Irika pushed him away, he was hit by a majority of the weapons. Now that you're out of the way, we can get to the main event. But I wouldn't mind breaking the demon. Now, Naruto, do you know why everyone in the village hates you? Irika's eyes widened at the implication of Mizuki's question. In Mizuki, it's forbidden, exclaimed the Chunin. What Naruto said next both surprised them and scared Mizuki. Yes, I do know why. I've known for 6 years. I've been talking to it for all of those years. What did you think my fox was? Normal? You should know I'm anything but normal. And Mizuki, now that you've hurt my knees and you're dead, Naruto said in a dark voice. Fine, demon. We'll see what you can do, yelled the white-haired man. He threw his Fuma shuriken at Naruto, and just as it was about to hit him, Naruto made hand signs and yelled out a jutsu he had never heard. This Mizuki is my first original jutsu. Shikutten, Tatsumaki no Anu. Scorch release, tornado flame. /N. Imagine a Beato's blast flame wild dance, but it coming from the mouth of the castor. Mizuki's eyes widened as a spiraling tornado filled with black flames came rushing at him. He put his arms in an X formation to block the flames. Aelworth, what is this? I can't put it out. That's just one of 3 of my bloodlines. The only thing that can put it out is my blood. Naruto said coldly. You damn demon. Put this out now. All right, you asked for it. Naruto said. Mizuki and Irika's eyes popped out of their sockets as Naruto's eyes changed to a dojutsu they've never seen before. Naruto took a sealing scroll from his kunai pouch. As soon as he released it, a giant pool of blood formed at his feet. Naruto lifted his hand and said, Chi no Hitsuji, blood coffin. Blood wrapped around Mizuki's body so that only his face was visible. He pushed back and Mizuki was pinned to a tree. That was 2 of 3 Mizuki, give up now and live. If I show you my 3rd bloodline, I guarantee death, Naruto warned. I'll never relent to you, demon. Fine. It's your death. Mizuki's face turned to one of horror as he saw 2 bone swords come out of Naruto's body, wielded by the boy. Naruto ran at Mizuki and stabbed both into his shoulders, causing him to go unconscious from the blood loss. Are you okay, Irika-sensei? Naruto asked as the blood went back into the seal. And Naruto, how? The amazed Chunin asked. Bloodlines in practice. Also, I just remembered that I didn't even get to show him Kage Bunshin. Why you learn Kage Bunshin? But I learned them like 2 years ago. Why didn't you do them at graduation? Well, I was about to, but Mizuki was messing with my chakra, so I decided to just create a dead clone to see what he was planning. I took that risk, and that's how we ended up here. So you can really do them? Yep, said Naruto as he created 1,000 shadow clones. Irika's eyes widened and his jaw hit the floor. There's got to be 1,000 here. Yeah, but it takes a bunch of chakra. But I have that chakra, so I'm okay. Irika smiled. Naruto, close your eyes, please. Okay. Naruto felt something wrap around his neck. Okay, open them. As Naruto looked at Irika, he saw that his forehead was bare of his Konoha headband. He looked down and saw it strapped around his neck. Sorry. Couldn't fit around your head with your ponytail. That was the second best option, Irika said. It's okay. I like it better this way, Naruto said sincerely. Irika smiled. Oh, and Naruto, if that doesn't spell it out, congratulations on graduating. 1 week later. A week after graduation, the newly minted genin gathered back into the classroom for team placements. There was one person that they had never seen before that had on a leaf headband. He had on black AMBU pants with a gray shirt. Over the shirt, he had a black vest similar to Shikamaru's with red straps for the tanto he wore on his back. Their heads turned as they saw the one person they thought had failed in the doorway. There was Naruto with a forehead protector strung around his neck. The only difference in his clothing that they noticed was the headband and a belt he had around his waist that 10 scrolls. 9 of them were about the size of his forearm, and the 10th was about the size of his hand. Naruto, you passed. Thank goodness, thought Hinata. Nobody had noticed except Naruto, whose eyes widened. Hinata now had a bandage around her forehead, which could only mean one thing. Shit. Everybody else's thoughts on Naruto went along the lines of, damn it, why did he have to pass? Now I might be on a team with him. The only one who spoke up was Sakura. Naruto, what are you doing here? You failed. Haruno, I've said it once and I'll say it again. Shut up, said Naruto. ***, there was a misunderstanding while grading, so I had to fix the mistakes written down, said Irika. Now, Naruto, please take a seat. Hi, Irika-sensei. All right. I will only be saying the teams once, so listen up. Team 1. At this, Naruto zoned out. Throughout the class, he could hear groans from Sasuke fangirls who wouldn't be with their beloved. He started to listen when it came to clan heirs. Team 7. Sai, Haruno Sakura, and Uchiha Sasuke. Yuiea. True love wins over all. Take that Ino pick, yelled the ecstatic Pinkett. Sakura, sit down. I wasn't finished. yelled Irika. All right. Team 7, your sensei will be Hitaki Kakashi. Team 8, Aburame Shino, Hyuga Hinata, Inuzuka Kiba. Wahoo. You hear that, Akamaru? We're with Hina-chan. Kiba yelled. Kiba, let me finish, screamed Irika. Now, your sensei is Yuhi Kurenai. Kurenai-ne-chan? Thought Naruto and Hinata. Well, at least there's someone to watch Kiba if he makes any moves, thought the redhead. Team 10, Yamanaka Ino, Nara Shikamaru, and Akamichi Choji. Your sensei is Sarutobi Asuma, said Irika. Now, Naruto, will you come with me to talk about your team? Naruto frowned but nodded nonetheless. When they were outside the classroom, Irika spoke up. Naruto, the Hokage has given you a choice. Flashback. There was a lot of chatter in the Hokage office about who will be getting who on their team. This went on for a couple of minutes until the Hokage put an end to it. Enough. If you don't mind, I will be getting onto teams. Thank you. Team 7 will be composed of Hitaki Kakashi, Uchiha Sasuke, Sai, and Haruno Sakura. Team 8 will be composed of Yuhi Kurenai, Aburame Shino, Hyuga Hinata, and Inuzuka Kiba. Team 10 will be composed of Sarutobi Asuma, Yamanaka Ino, Nara Shikamaru, and Akamichi Choji. Team 9 is still in circulation. Team 11 will be composed of Uzumaki Naruto alone. Are there any concerns? Announced the Hokage. Lord Hokage, why is my student on his own? Asked Irika. I'm glad you asked, Irika-kun. You see, I don't think Naruto-kun will fit on any team. He won't fit for Team 10 as a tactical squad. He doesn't fit on the tracking team of Team 8. And from what I've seen of your reports, neither the Uchiha or Haruno like him. He will mainly be a backup team that only I will assign and grant missions to. And from what I saw with the Mizuki incident and his life, he's fine and more comfortable working alone. If a team has an open spot, it will be up to him if he wants to join. Flashback end. So what's the other choice? Asked Naruto. Join a team with the other outliers. I'll take the first choice. Gigi's right. I don't fit on the other teams. Plus, I can just make my own team with my Kage Bunshin. I'll be Team 11 alone, Irika-sensei, the recon and backup team, Uzumaki Naruto, said Naruto. All right, Naruto, let's go announce this, said Irika. When they got back into class, Naruto took the same seat he took a week earlier, causing both Kiba and Sasuke to glare at him. The class slowly started to disperse as more and more teams left. The last 3 teams and Naruto's heads lifted at the next 2 jounin. A burly and tall man with a cigar came in with a red-eyed, black-haired woman with a blouse that looked like it was made of bandages with one red sleeve. Team 8, Yuhi Kurenai. Team 10, Sarutobi Asuma. As Team 10 left with Asuma, Hinata got up, and as she walked by Kiba, he stuck out his hand to grab her by her ass. Before he got there, however, a kunai cut in front of his hand, stopping him. He looked left and saw Naruto on the windowsill. Kurenai-nichan, Shino, watch the mud. He's a feisty one, the redhead said as he hopped out the window. Before he could defend himself, Kiba felt 3 large killing intents coming from Kurenai and Sakura. Hey Gigi, thanks for the solo team. You made a good decision. If I was placed on a team, especially with people who I don't like, it will mess our teamwork. And we need teamwork for our missions, especially as fresh genin, said Naruto. Ah, Naruto-kun, I'm glad you chose the better decision, said Sarutobi. He knows what to do without even a test, he thought happily. Oh yeah, if a spot opens up, I don't want in. If a jounin ever wants to teach me, that's fine, but I don't want a permanent sensei without my choosing. That's fine, Naruto-kun, responded the Hokage. So, since I'm already my own team, can I get a few missions? A few. Well, I can make Kage Bunshin, and D ranks really only take 1 to 2 people. So if I create 20 Kage Bunshins, it's 10 missions a day, explained Naruto. Very well. Here are your 10 missions, said Sarutobi with a smile. When Naruto got outside, he created 19 clones going into pairs of 2. The original Naruto and copy went off to their mission, babysitting a little brat at the Sarutobi compound. Once Naruto got to the Sarutobi compound, he knocked on the doors of the estate. The doors opened, showing Sarutobi's daughter-in-law. She had on a pink apron and was wearing brown pants with a green blouse. Hey, I'm to babysit a brat while Mika has a girls' night out? Yes, that's me. Thank you for watching Konohamaru, said the now-named Mika. Just to let you know, he might want to train for the academy, so if you could help him practice, I would be very grateful. Of course, said Naruto. Thank you. Here are the keys. We live in the main house over there, and watch out for any of his ambushes, she said in a rush. All right, have a good time, said the flabbergasted redhead. As he walked towards the main house, he heard whistling come towards him. He took out his father's 3-pronged kunai and cut all the wooden shuriken in half. Let me guess, are you Konohamaru? Asked Naruto to nobody in particular. H, how did you do that? asked the derpy-looking boy. He had a tan shirt with the Konoha symbol on it. He had gray pants with blue ninja sandals. He had a long blue scarf that was too big for him and a cap that let out his hair at the top. I'm a ninja kid. That's how. And I'll be the one babysitting training you. Name's Naruto, said Naruto. Wow. Really? Exclaimed Konohamaru. Amazing. All right, kid. Your aim sucks, so we'll work on that. Naruto said half-heartedly. No, it doesn't. How would you know? Screamed the angered kid. I know because my reaction time is as good as the Sharingan. And I don't have it, Naruto said. Are there training grounds here? Yeah, they're over this way, Konohamaru said as he pointed past the house. Training grounds. All right, can you show me how you throw your kunai and shuriken? Naruto said as he put a sunban in his teeth. All right, Konohamaru said as he took out 4 shuriken and 4 kunai. He threw them at the training post where none of them hit. I see why you're so bad at this. You don't even aim. You throw them hoping one will hit, explained Naruto. Huh? Said Konohamaru. Then how do I aim? Well, there are many ways to throw kunai, shuriken, and other weapons. But I throw shuriken similar to frisbees and kunai as if I was skipping rocks, Naruto said. Oh, I know how to do that, said Konohamaru. Good. Now grab some good rocks for skipping and get a frisbee. We'll be working on your aim for the next hour to hour and a half. Okay, Naruto-niken. Konohamaru called. Naruto smiled at the retreating boy. He's a lot like me, he thought. He's so much like you it's scary, said Kurama. Konohamaru came back with a bucket of rocks and a frisbee. Naruto was nowhere in sight. Naruto-niken? He asked. Right here, Konohamaru. Konohamaru turned around and saw Naruto holding something behind his back. What's that? Asked the curious boy. A present for you. But first take off your cap. Naruto told him. Oh, okay. Now what? Konohamaru watched as Naruto took a green pair of goggles from behind his back and held them out to him. For you, I used to wear them in the academy before I graduated. I don't use them anymore, so you'll put better use to them. But promise me something, okay? When you find someone who interests you and you become a shinobi like you interest me, give the goggles and give them the same message I gave you right now, Naruto said. You can count on it, Naruto-niken. Konohamaru said as he put on the goggles. All right, let's get to the training. 1 hour and a half later. Pant Naruto pant Niken. That was a lot of work. Konohamaru said exasperated. It wasn't that bad. Plus your aim is much better now. You hit 85% of your throws, Naruto complimented. So what do you want to do now? I'm not sure. Ebisu-sensei usually shows up around now, said the Sarutobi. Oh, hey Konohamaru. Yeah? What's your dream? To be Hokage. Konohamaru yelled. That's ironic, said Naruto as Kurama nodded. Huh. Why? 'Cause that's my dream as well, said the Uzumaki. Why is it yours? Konohamaru's face fell at this. Gramps named me after the village, Konoha, but all people call me Honorable Grandson. That's why I want to become Hokage, so they can finally see me and not just the Hokage's grandson, he explained. Konohamaru, I'm going to be blunt. That's not a great reason to become Hokage. My reason is to protect the people most precious to me, and even if it treats me badly, the village as well. I learned that over 6 years ago. It used to be to get the villagers' recognition, but I know that will take a very long time. I learned this after a talk with Gigi. Naruto said. Gigi? Asked Konohamaru. The third is like a grandfather to me. You know, explained Naruto. He's always there when I need him. Konohamaru now had a whole new outlook on becoming the Hokage. He looked at his grandfather's face in the Hokage mountain. Don't worry, Gigi. When I become Hokage, I'll protect this village and my precious people just like you. Honorable grandson, yelled a dopey-sounding voice. Naruto looked over to see a man with blue ninja clothes, glasses, and a leaf forehead protector worn as a headband. Who are you? Asked the redhead. That's who Lord Third sent to babysit his precious grandson? Thought the man. I am Ebisu, the honorable grandson's personal tutor. You let him call you that, said Naruto as he frowned at Konohamaru. He keeps insisting on calling me that, Konohamaru replied looking at the floor. And you, if you were his personal tutor, why is his weapon aim so bad? I taught him for an hour and a half, and he was hitting the targets by 70% more from when we started, Naruto scolded. You do not have the right to talk to me, an elite, that way, said Ebisu dignantly. I call him and talk to him how I see him. And you, said Naruto as he looked Ebisu up and down, are a closet pervert that tries to use shortcuts. Ebisu face planted as he heard the last part. However, Konohamaru's eyes widened. You knew he used shortcuts just by looking at him. Wow, boss, you're so cool. Konohamaru exclaimed. Yeah, it's pretty easy. I knew just by the way he holds himself, said Naruto. Listen, Ebisu, or whatever your name is. Right now I'm watching the brat and it's a mission that I'm glad I got, so either leave so I can continue to enjoy it, or do something that allows you to stay. Fine, said Ebisu, getting up still having a slight blush on his face. This will impress you for sure. Kage Bunshin no Jutsu. As Ebisu said this, 20 clones popped up beside him. Wow, can I learn that? Konohamaru asked excitedly. Of course. Under my teaching you can learn anything, yelled Ebisu. Are you trying to kill him? You need Jounin level chakra to pull that off. And is that supposed to impress me? Naruto asked. Taju Kage Bunshin no Jutsu. As soon as he said that, 200 clones popped into the training ground. Ebisu and Konohamaru were stunned. How? Asked Ebisu. That's a secret, said Naruto. Now, I'll be watching Konohamaru until Mika-san gets back. I have about another 3 to 4 hours, so if you could be on your way, that would be much appreciated. Ebisu and his 20 clones walked out of the compound still shocked at the 200 clones. 1 week later, D ranks were no longer a problem because of Naruto and his Kage Bunshins. He had gotten over 70 done in the past week alone. He had done nearly 10x the amount that most Chunin teams had. This of course did not sit well with the emo Uchiha who had seen too many Narutos around the village. His Chunin team had nearly failed their test, and they had only been working on teamwork exercises and only done 5 missions. Hokage's office. Hokage-sama, I think we deserve a C-rank mission, said Sasuke. Yeah. Sasuke-kun should get a C-rank. What's the point of useless chores anyway? Screamed Sakura. Sai just stood there while Kakashi was off in his own little world with his Ika. Kakashi, do you think your team can handle a C-rank? Asked the Hokage. Kakashi analyzed his team for a bit and then nodded. Hi, Hokage-sama. I feel they're ready. Sasuke and Sai are high Genin to low Chunin level and Sakura is about mid Genin level. I think they can do an escort mission. The Hokage nodded. Very well. You will be escorting Tazuna to Nami no Kuni so that he can build his bridge. He looked at the door and said, You can come in now, Tazuna-san. Team 7 looked to the door and saw a scruffy-looking old man. He had on a brown shirt and green shorts. He had a bottle which was filled with sake, and they could tell he was drunk. Next to him was someone they weren't expecting. Dope? Get out of here. We're in an official meeting here. Can't you see? Said Sasuke. Like I care what you say, said Naruto as he passed Team 7. Don't talk to Sasuke-kun like that, screamed Sakura. Do you have to be so loud? You'll make both old men go deaf, he said as Tazuna glared at him while the Hokage laughed. I'll be okay, Naruto-kun. Anyways, are you here to turn in your missions? Asked Sarutobi. Hi, Hokage-sama. Gotta say though, I feel bad for Tora. Her owner is way too rough, said Naruto chuckling a little. Anyways, I'm gonna go train with Konohamaru. See ya, Gigi. Naruto said as he jumped out the window. I keep telling him to use the door, but he doesn't listen. The Hokage muttered. Team 7 were just dumbfounded. They saw the way Naruto talked to the Hokage, and for a few seconds he was respectful, but then it took a 180, and they were talking like old friends. The Hokage coughed to get their attention. Anyways, as I was saying, please escort Tazuna-san to Nami no Kuni. Wait, this is my team? A bunch of kids? Asked Tazuna. Don't worry, Tazuna-san. My team is very capable. And if anything goes wrong, I'm a Jounin, said Kakashi. All right, team. This mission might take a while, so pack for 2 weeks. 1 day later, Naruto was walking through the streets when he saw someone he hadn't seen since team selection. He looked around and saw the coast was clear. Hey, Hinata, he greeted as he ran up to the depressed-looking girl. What's wrong? He asked as he saw her grim look. It's nothing in Naruto-kun, said Hinata. I can tell something's wrong. You don't have to keep it to yourself, you know, said Naruto. Hinata's eyes filled with tears and she turned to him so that only he could see her face. She unraveled the bandages around her forehead as she started to cry. Naruto's eyes widened and he clenched his fists. On Hinata's forehead was the bane of the cadet branch of the Hyuga clan, caged bird seal. Hinata, said Naruto. My father saw that Sakura-san ww is the Ithikunoichi of the y year, and said that if I wasn't able to do b better than a c civilian b born g girl, I wasn't g good enough to be heiress. So he put the c caged b bird seal on me the d-day after the g graduation exams, she explained sadly. Naruto was speechless. How could they do that to their own family? The two looked up as they heard a messenger hawk above them. Naruto held out his hand and opened the scroll. Sorry, Hinata-chan, I'm needed in the Hokage's office. But get better, okay? It'll all get better in time, he said as he gave her a gentle smile. She nodded and then blushed as she realized the chan suffix he added onto her name. She looked at his retreating figure and her mood dropped once more. She felt around her pocket and found the metal piece she had been using for the past few years. I don't know if it will, Naruto-kun, she thought sadly. Hokage's office. Naruto was still in a bad mood when he got to the Hokage's office. Sarutobi noticed and asked, "Is something the matter, Naruto-kun?" "It's nothing, Gigi," the obviously irritated boy said. Sarutobi nodded and didn't question any further. "Anyways, what I brought you here for? Do you remember the mission I sent Team 7 on yesterday?" "Hi," replied Naruto. "Well, they ran into some complications and the C rank is now being bumped up to high B to low A. You are to catch up with Team 7 and help them finish their mission." "Understood." "Hi, Hokage-sama," Naruto said as he grabbed the scroll the Hokage gave him. Gates of Konoha. As Naruto finished sealing the necessities he needed for the mission, he activated his wind jutsu. The wind flowed around him, and he felt lighter. Then he was off running at his top speed. /in. Think of A's lightning armor, but wind. "I wonder what this mission has in store for you, kid," said Kurama. "I sure hope it doesn't take long," thought Naruto as he sped off to Nami no Kuni. "Nami no Kuni. Everybody get out of here," yelled Kakashi trapped inside of a water prison. "Don't worry, Kakashi-sensei. This guy doesn't have anything against me." "An Uchiha elite," said Sasuke smugly. "Now, I demand you let our sensei go." "Ha. That's good." "You demanding me?" said a shirtless man. He had short brown hair and no eyebrows. He wore a scratched Kirigakure headband sideways and had bandages and a mask on his face. On his back was a sword that looked like a giant butcher's knife. This man's name was Momochi Zabuza, the demon of the hidden mist. He created a water clone to hold back the obviously green Chunin. "Shit," thought Kakashi. "Zabuza? They're just kids. Leave them out of this," he begged. "Kids? So what? I'm guessing you knew what I did at the Kiri graduation exams." "After all, it's in the bingo book," said Zabuza. "What graduation exams?" asked Sasuke. 10 years ago, the then-called Blood Mist Village had to change their Chunin graduation exams because one kid killed all 100 attendees, said Kakashi. The Chunin all looked to Zabuza, who they were guessing had a gleeful smile on his face. Kids who grew up together, having to face each other to the death. Killing them was such a joy. The blood everywhere. "How I wish I could do it again," yelled Zabuza maniacally. "Blood. It is such a nice color. Is it not? Red?" "Seeing it at such a young age and being the one who caused it. I know that feeling," said a voice none of the 5 shinobi there recognized. Zabuza turned around and saw a kid the same age as the Chunin team with a leaf headband. He had red hair that was in a ponytail. The best part was he was alone. "And you are?" asked the missing knee. "Sorry, Uzumaki Naruto," said Naruto. "That's the backup Sandaime-sama sent," thought Kakashi. "Uzumaki? Huh? I thought they were wiped out," thought Zabuza. Suddenly, everyone's eyes widened. The air around Naruto started to lift, making it look like he had an armor of wind around him. "Like my wind armor?" asked Naruto. "Made it myself." Naruto rushed at Zabuza with blinding speeds, and before Zabuza could blink, he felt a fist connect to his stomach, and he flew back, causing Kakashi to be freed. "Thanks," said the grateful Jounin. "No problem," replied Naruto. Zabuza got up and made hand signs. "Kirigakure no jutsu," he said, and the mist got thicker tenfold. "Shit. My senses are all messed up," said Naruto. "Kakashi, I'm calling out a friend of mine." "Kuchiyos no jutsu," he added. Kakashi's eyes widened as a two-tailed fox about the size of a husky appeared next to him. "Kion, I need you to find someone," said Naruto as he held out his hand. "Sniff, blood, sniff dash, a bit leathery, sniff dash, and smells wet and sweaty." "Okay, he's 12 o'clock. Kakashi's eyes widened. The others, Sasuke, Sakura, and Sai, were in a triangle formation around Tazuna. They felt someone appear in between them. "Shit," thought Tazuna. Zabuza started to swing his butcher's knife until he was kicked in the face by Naruto. Zabuza turned into water and appeared behind Naruto. He again swung his sword until Kakashi appeared, making hand signs. "Suion, Daibakufu no Jutsu," Kakashi yelled. Zabuza was blown away into a tree, causing him to become disconcerted. Surprising everyone, Naruto rushed at Zabuza and took bones that had popped from his back and turned them into swords. Zabuza stood up, and just as Naruto got near him, Tsusanban came flying from the trees, hitting Zabuza in the neck, knocking him out. A masked ninja appeared before the others. "Thank you for the assist in taking down Zabuza. I have been hunting him for quite a while," said the masked ninja. "So then you are a Kiri Hunter-nin?" asked Kakashi. "Hi," replied the Hunter-nin. As the ninja was about to pick up the body, Naruto asked, "Don't Hunter-nins destroy the body on the spot?" The masked ninja tensed, and before anyone could do anything, he disappeared in a water shunshin. "Shit," said Naruto. The redhead dropped his bone swords, and they disintegrated shortly after, and his clothes where they had been punctured were healed to how they were before. "Are you okay, Kakashi-sensei?" he asked. "Yeah, I just need a bit of rest. I overexerted myself," the Jounin stated as he slumped to the ground, conscious but unable to move his body. "Dope. How did you do that?" "I demand you to teach me," said Sasuke. "Do what?" asked Naruto. "Don't play stupid Naruto baka. You took bones out of your body. Teach it to Sasuke now," yelled Sakura. "Sorry, can't. It's a bloodline," Naruto said as he created 3 shadow clones, one turning into a stretcher for Kakashi and the 2 other to carry him. "You can't have a bloodline. You're an orphan," said Sasuke. "Just cause I'm an orphan doesn't mean I don't have an inheritance," stated the annoyed Chunin. "You can't have that kind of inheritance because just like you, your parents were probably losers," said Sakura smugly. "There were probably some drunk Chunin who died to simple bandits on a simple escort mission." The air dropped significantly and Kakashi's eyes widened. He saw Naruto rush at Sakura and pull a bone blade from his body. Just before he could chop the girl's head clean from her neck, his arm was caught by Kakashi. This didn't stop Naruto, though. His eyes changed from the slitted azure ones everybody always knew to the Ketsuryuken. He controlled the blood from his bone puncture to wrap around Sakura's neck, causing her to gasp for air. He lifted her up to eye level before speaking to her in a cold, hard voice. "Listen here, Haruno, and listen well. You don't know who my parents are. I do. So don't go around talking about them as if you do. I know what your family is like. A bunch of high and mighty civilians who think they are better than everyone else. Just letting you know. You are not special. Know your place. You are the weakest of everyone here. I could have killed you had it not been for Kakashi-sensei. If you speak ill of my family again, not even Kakashi will stop me," he said as he dropped the frightened girl. This declaration shocked everyone for different reasons. For Kakashi, it was that he knew his parents. For Sasuke, it was that he showed another bloodline. For Sai, it was that he thought that Naruto was a loudmouth from what Danzo had said. And for Tazuna, it was how strong this kid was. "Dope. How do you have 2 Kekii Genkai? I demand you give your eyes to me so I can defeat my brother," said Sasuke demandingly once again. "You sound so stupid, Uchiha. Listen to me. You will never get anything of mine. Work for yourself," said the irate Uzumaki. "Enough," said Kakashi. "We can't be getting into quarrels right now. First, we need to complete this mission. Settle everything after. Also, Naruto, we need to talk when we get to Tazuna's." Naruto nodded. Tazuna's house. The group got to Tazuna's house only about 10 minutes after the heated conversation. "Tsunami, I'm home," Tazuna called. "Father," said a dark blue-haired woman. She looked at the 5 shinobi. "Thank you for keeping my father safe." "Of course," said Naruto. "Is there somewhere I can put him down?" he asked, pointing to Kakashi. "Go past the dining room. Take a left, and he can use the farthest room," Tsunami said. "Thank you." As Naruto closed the door to Kakashi's room, he put up a barrier seal. "So what did you want to talk to me about?" the redhead asked. "I want to talk to you about my connection to your parents," Kakashi said. "Wait, what? What do you mean your connection?" asked Naruto. "When I was placed on a Chunin team, my Jounin sensei was your father, Namake's Minato. Throughout my time with him, I started to look at him as a father figure in my life since my father had been dead for several years. When your father was Hokage, he assigned me to ANBU so that he could help me cope with the loss of both of my teammates. When Kushina-sama, your mother, was pregnant with you, he had me watch over you. After your father and mother's death, I was lost. I felt like I had lost everyone, and for the next 8 years I stayed in ANBU, watching over you. For the past 4 years I have been failing Chunin teams. Team 7 is my first team," said Kakashi. Throughout the story Naruto had started, he didn't know when or how, since it had been nearly 7 years since he cried last. But it just came out. "You were watching over me that entire time?" he said teary-eyed. "Yes, I wish I could have taken you in, but I was 14 at the time, and my mental state wasn't the best for taking care of a baby. I wish I could have done more, but I didn't know how. I'm sore dash." Kakashi was cut off as he sat up and was wrapped in a hug by a crying Naruto. Thank you. "Hick, K Kakashi knees and F for W watching over me," said Naruto. "Of course. Otudo. Now stop crying or you'll be stuttering like that Hyuga girl you oh so heroically watch over," said Kakashi. Naruto could just hear the smirk in his voice, but he couldn't stop the tomato-red blush from covering his cheeks. Shut up, Nezen. Kakashi just gave the boy an eye smile. That night, Kakashi-san. Naruto-san. Dinner's ready. Naruto came out with Kakashi on a crutch. They saw Team 7, Tazuna, Tsunami, and a boy around 8 years old at the table. "Sure smells good," Naruto said happily. "Itadikamasu," said everyone at the table. A few minutes after everyone started eating, The young boy spoke up. Why? Why do you keep fighting? It's useless. Gata will kill you as he did to the others who stood up to him. Yelled the boy. Kid, we're shinobi. Everyone else who faced Gata wasn't on our level. Don't worry, said Naruto. You're just saying that because you all come from a sheltered village where you're all treated as heroes, screamed the teary-eyed boy. You don't know how hard my life has been. Kakashi looked down and gulped. The room dropped several degrees at the boy's proclamation. Kid, you haven't had a hard life. You've had one hard year. You want to know how I'm treated in my own village? I'll tell you. I'm constantly beaten, chased, glared at, or neglected. At the academy, I was forced to sit out of important lectures. When I got home, I had no one waiting. No mom, no dad. Mind you, I lived in the red light district. Every time I got back, my apartment was trashed by the people who hated me, which was everyone except a select few. If I fought back, I was punished by the council because the demon brat hurt the people who beat me. Back home, if I love someone, they need to protect themselves. I can't return the feelings of the person whom I love most in this damned world because she'll be hurt more than she already is for being called a failure. That kid is a hard life, said Naruto coldly, leaking some killing intent at the last part. Kakashi Nizan, I'm going out. Kakashi nodded. The boy started to cry and ran to his room. Tazuna and Tsunami were crying for Naruto. I'm sorry for Inari, hic dash, said Tsunami, as she started to wipe her tears. Kakashi-sensei, surely Naruto's life wasn't that bad. He made that up to get attention, right? Asked Sakura, not believing Naruto's story. No, Sakura, everything he said was true. Although I believe that was drastically watered down, said Kakashi as Sakura and Sasuke's eyes widened. Kakashi followed Inari to the dock to talk to the depressed boy. You know? I don't know the last time I've seen Naruto cry, said the Jounin as he sat down next to the crying kid. What? Asked Inari. What Naruto told you in there is true. However, I used to watch over him, and all the times I saw him, he didn't shed a single tear. Naruto's not good with people. But I believe that was his attempt at a motivational speech, Kakashi said with an eye smile. Why you really think so? He asked. I do, said Kakashi. Inari looked out at sea. Otosan, I'll make you proud, he thought. 12 hours later, a kid who you couldn't tell was a girl or boy was walking around the forest picking up plants as he did so. He looked up after picking some and saw a red-headed boy with a ninja headband. He walked up to the boy, seeing that he was unconscious. He narrowed his eyes at the boy. He could walk away, wake the boy, or kill the boy for his master. He stuck out his hand, and before he could do anything, the boy's hand was around his wrist, his eyes still closed. You shouldn't sneak up on a shinobi like that, you know? Asked the redhead. Well, you know, if you sleep outside, you'll catch a cold, said the kid. Naruto raised his eyebrow. I guess so. What's your name? Isn't it polite to give your name first? I guess so. It's Naruto. So what's your name? The Uzumaki replied. Haku, said the kid. So, Haku-san, what are you doing? I am collecting herbs for my friend. He is very ill right now, Haku said as he picked up the herb he was looking for. So what were you doing to make you sleep outside? I was training. I guess I was venting my frustration, Naruto chuckled. Training, but you look strong already, Haku said. Naruto shook his head. I may be strong to civilians, but compared to other stronger shinobi, I stand no chance. Do you have precious people? I always believe that if you had people to protect, you are at your strongest. Haku asked. Precious people? I have a few. Not a lot, but enough to keep me happy, Naruto responded. That's good, Naruto-san. Now if you'll excuse me, I have to go help my precious person, Haku said as he walked away. Oh, and I'm a boy. I figured. I saw the Adam's apple, said Naruto. Oh, and tell Zabuza I'm sorry it has to be like this. Haku's eyes widened and he ran back to Zabuza's base. Naruto walked into Tazuna's house as the group was eating their breakfast. He sat down and grabbed some food as everyone stared at him. Did he spend all night outside? They all thought. Naruto, did you sleep outside? Asked Kakashi. Hi, Nizan. Why? Responded Naruto. Nothing. Kakashi said, leaving it at that. Naruto, why did you call Kakashi Nizan? I thought you didn't have a family, asked Sakura. Kakashi and Tazuna choked on what they were drinking. You could have worded that better, they both thought. Naruto's chopstick snapped in two and he took a deep breath. We look at the same person as our father. HN. Why would Kakashi look at your father as a father figure? Asked Sasuke. He helped him, said Naruto. Let me guess. He let him use your Horva Imo dash. Sasuke never got to finish as he felt a giant killing intent come from both Naruto and Kakashi, and was surprised when he saw a red blur and then black. Naruto in unbridled rage had run at Sasuke, punched him in his solar plexus and sent him into a wall, knocking him out instantly. Naruto, how dare you hit Sasuke Kun? Kakashi-sensei do something, yelled Sakura. No. Sasuke brought that upon himself. I will not be punishing Naruto for something that wasn't his fault. I will be punishing Sasuke for what he said. What? Asked Sakura. Did you hear what he called Naruto's mother? Kakashi scolded. Sakura looked away from Kakashi. So I started to take notes from what happened in the last 24 hours between Naruto and Team 7. Sigh Sakura. Come with me. I'll pick up Sasuke, and we will go to the forest clearing just outside. We will be training for when we run into Zabuza and the masked Nin, said Kakashi coldly. Hi Kakashi-sensei. Damn them. Those fucking bastards, thought Naruto. Sigh I feel like Sasuke. Kid. You shouldn't be acting like this. You should be trying to get information like you always have, said Kurama. Yeah, you're right. Kuchiyos no jutsu, said Naruto. As the smoke cleared, a small Akamaru-sized black one-tailed fox appeared. Kagome, I want you to look around this place for anyone suspicious. Take at most 4 days. If you can't find anything in that time frame, come back to me and inform me on what you found. Hi, Naruto-sama, said Kagome. 4 days later, everyone except for Sasuke was having dinner at Tizuna's. All right, said Kakashi. Tomorrow is the day that Zabuza will attack. Intel tells us that the masked ninja that saved Zabuza has the Kekkei Genkai of the Ice release. That is also how we know he will be attacking tomorrow. You all have done well in your training for the past few days. Sasuke will probably be finished by tonight. Just as Kakashi said this, Sasuke walked in, exhausted and flushed. Sasuke, how's training going? Kakashi asked with a nice smile. Completed, Sasuke replied, panting. Hey, I didn't see Naruto training with us. Where was he? Asked Sakura. I believe Naruto-san had already completed it before we even got this mission. Is that correct, Naruto-san? Asked Sai with a creepy fake smile. Yes, Sai. I completed water walking as well, Naruto said, cringing at the smile. Wait, why didn't we learn water walking? Asked Sakura. It's more advanced than tree walking, and would have taken longer for you all to learn, and we do not have that time, explained Kakashi. Sasuke glared at Naruto, angry that once again the dobe had beat him at something. Sakura looked at Naruto suspiciously, wondering how the academy dead last was better than her Sasuke-kun. Sai just nodded and started drawing. Kakashi, catching Sasuke and Sakura's look, said, when we get back to Konoha we can work on water walking, and then move on to more advanced chakra control exercises. Team 7 nodded. Inari looked at the Chunin with hope in his eyes. Maybe, just maybe Nami could be free from Gatta's tyranny and he could make his father proud. 12 hours later, Team 7 were outside the house with a nervous Tizuna. Today was the day that Zabuza would attack, and they needed bait to lure him out. Naruto had left Kage Bunshins with Tsunami and Inari in case anything happened. Please, don't lose, said Inari. Naruto smiled at him. Don't worry. It'll all be okay. And with that, Team 7, Tizuna, and Naruto were off. When the group got to the bridge, they were aghast. All over the bridge were the bodies of Tizuna's workers, deep cuts all over their bodies. Tizuna and Sakura threw up at the carnage. Before they knew it, a thick mist appeared and a demonic laugh filled the bridge. He's here. Team 7 get into formation around Tizuna. Remember what we discussed. I will be taking on Zabuza and Naruto will be taking on the masked man. Sasuke, if Naruto needs assistance you help him when he signals it, said Kakashi. Kakashi, why is Naruto facing him instead of me? An elite, asked Sasuke smugly. Now is not the time, Chunin, Kakashi said coldly. Kakashi. Having problems already? We haven't even started, said Zabuza, appearing 50 feet from the Konoha shinobi. All right, go, said Kakashi to the Chunin. Naruto activated his wind armor, lowering the wind resistance around him. He rushed at Haku, just barely missing him. Seems like you have competition. A Haku? Hi, Zabuza-sama. It seems I'll have to go all out from the start. Hayaton, demonic ice mirrors, said Haku. As Haku said his jutsu, mirrors of ice appeared around Naruto, trapping him. Naruto grit his teeth as he saw Haku appear in the mirrors. Hayaton? The hell, he thought. With his wind armor still active, Naruto tried to run out of the dome. No matter how hard he tried, it wouldn't break. My mirrors are made with my chakra. You won't be able to break the ice. Give up. I do not want to hurt you, Haku said. I could have broken them by now. Your ice isn't as strong as you think, Naruto said, smirking. Haku's eyes twitched. You think you can break my ice? This is an A-rank jutsu. As I said before, you won't be able to break this jutsu. We'll see, said Naruto. Kitan, Gokakyu no jutsu. As Naruto said that, Haku's eyes widened. Coming at him was a fireball, but instead of the flames being orange, they were pitch black and hotter than any flame he had ever felt. He knew that if it impacted him, it would be bad news. He jumped out of the mirror just as the flame hit it, and the explosion pushed him back to where Zabuza and Kakashi were fighting, knocking him unconscious. Zabuza's eyes widened. Haku was defeated already, he thought. What the hell is that kid? He flew back as Kakashi punched him in the gut while he was distracted. Flashback. Sorry, Kakashi, but Haku will take care of that kid in 2 minutes, said Zabuza. I wouldn't be so sure about that. Naruto has gotten to where he is today all by himself. Nobody ever helped him. But if it weren't for you, that kid of yours wouldn't be where he is. I have a feeling that Naruto will pull through, said Kakashi. Zabuza growled and took Kubikura Bocho from his back and rushed at Kakashi. Kakashi grabbed a kunai and got into his taijutsu stance. Zabuza swung down at Kakashi and he dove away. He threw his kunai and Zabuza who blocked it with the flat of his blade. Kakashi lifted up his headband and revealed his Sharingan. The Sharingan, eh? I've learned how to fight you using that. That eye is powerful, but if you can't see, there's no use, said Zabuza. Kakashi narrowed his eyes. Using a kunai when Zabuza was using silent killing wasn't an option. His dogs couldn't be helpful for tracking, but he wasn't going to sacrifice them in case he needed to block. There was only one thing he could use. One thing he hadn't used since the Third Ninja War. He had gotten it fixed and reinforced so it never broke again. Kakashi took a scroll from his bag. He unsealed it, and just as Zabuza was about to cut Kakashi, it was blocked by Kakashi's weapon. Zabuza's eyes widened. That's the dash, he muttered. That's right. It is the weapon that made my father famous, said Kakashi. The white light chakra saber of the White Fang was in use once again. Kakashi and Zabuza jumped apart, and they glared at each other. Their eyes widened as they heard an explosion and a black fireball. Into flashback. You wuck, grunted Zabuza. I guess you were right, Kakashi. Your brat did last longer. Kuchios no jutsu, yelled Kakashi. After Kakashi yelled the name of his jutsu, several dogs held Zabuza. Kakashi ran at Zabuza with his chakra saber crackling with lightning chakra. He aimed it at Zabuza's heart, but instead of hitting his heart, he hit Haku's heart instead. Kakashi and Zabuza's eyes widened. H. Haku? Asked Zabuza. I'm sorry, Zabuza-sama, but it was the best I could do as a broken tool, said the dying boy. Zabuza, still trapped, let out enough killing intent to dispel the dogs. He grabbed his sword, and before he could cut down Kakashi and Haku, he heard a clang. He looked down and saw the brat that had defeated Haku, with bone swords in an X formation. His eyes widened. This Gaki can block the Kubikura Bocho? How strong is he? He thought. Before the fighting could go any further, they heard cackling in the distance. Ha 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 ha. So the legendary demon of Kirigakure, defeated by a couple of brats. How far you have fallen, snarled Gato, a short, fat man in a tuxedo. He took a step forward, and before he made another move, an arrow landed at his feet. We won't be under your control anymore, Gato, yelled Inari from the other side of the bridge. Gato scowled. Enough of this. Men, destroy them, he said as he went behind his samurai. Kid, back me up, will you? Asked Zabuza. He then looked at Kakashi. Can you watch over Haku? I don't want his body being destroyed. Kakashi nodded. Naruto activated his wind armor, and Zabuza readied his blade. Naruto and Zabuza charged at the thugs, Naruto killing as many as he could with his blades. Zabuza ran at Gato, killing nobody, but getting stabbed in the back as he charged the tyrant. As he got to him, he called out to the businessman, Gato, you and I will be going to hell together. He cut Gato down the middle, and the man fell into the sea below. Zabuza fell to his knees, finally feeling the effects of the wounds he got from the swords and spears. Naruto caught the missing Nin and laid him down next to Haku. Naruto, said Zabuza, you're one though, Gaki. I'll leave you my sword. Put good use to it, he finished as he breathed his last breath. The demon of the mist was no more. He left me his sword, said Naruto, picking up the blade. Kakashi, I smiled. I guess you impressed him enough for that. Naruto sealed away the sword in a scroll, not knowing what to do with it for the time being. It was then Naruto started feeling the fatigue of his battle with the Kiri Nin and Haku. Kakashi Nizan. I'm gonna take a nap. 1 week later. Please don't go, said a crying Inari. Oi, oi, oi. I told you I'd visit sometime. Don't worry, said a chuckling Naruto. Okay. I think we'll be off, said Kakashi, wanting to get back to reading his Aika. With that, Team 7 was off. So, Otosan, what's the bridge's name? Asked Tsunami. Tazuna smiled at the retreating redhead's back. I think we'll call it the Great Naruto Bridge. Team 7 had been traveling at shinobi speed for half a day, and were almost back at the village. Naruto was still trying to figure out what to do with the Kubikura Bocho. Hey, Kakashi Nizan, Do you know anything about Zabuza's sword? Like any special powers or something like that? Asked Naruto. Any powers? Well, I'm pretty sure that when it is chipped or even broken, it just needs a small amount of blood to regrow. It uses the iron in the blood to reform itself, replied Kakashi. Naruto's eyes widened. I have an idea. But you might need to carry me for a bit, he said, and Kakashi nodded as the group jumped to the ground and walked. Naruto went into his mindscape to talk to the fox. I already know what you will be trying, kid. I believe it will work, but you need to seal it somewhere in this seal. It needs to have full access to your chakra just like I do. That's how it will work, said Kurama. And so when I take out a bone, I can use my blood to reform the sword. You think I can use two at once? The Uzumaki wondered. I don't see why not, the fox said. All right, said the ecstatic redhead. Naruto began to create a blood storage seal inside of the 8-trigram seal. Once he was done, he placed the Kubikura Bocho on the storage seal, and with a swipe of his blood, he sealed the sword in himself. He immediately felt the repercussions of sealing it, and he started to feel nauseous and shaky. Outside the seal, Kakashi felt Naruto start to shake. It lasted for another minute, and Kakashi began to worry, but it disappeared as suddenly as it came. He felt Naruto wake up and stopped. You okay, Otuto? Kakashi asked his little brother. Yeah, but I'm exhausted, Naruto said. I'll carry you the rest of the way, Kakashi said. Konoha. Team 7 with a sleeping Naruto arrived at Konoha half a day later. When they got there, they were met with the Eternal Gate Guards, Izumo and Kotetsu. Hey, Kakashi just got back from that A rank. Huh? Asked Kotetsu. Kakashi, I smiled and nodded. Sign a Naruto for me, will you? He asked. All right. Is the kid all right? Asked Izumo. Kakashi frowned at the question. You know him? I mean on a personal level. Sure do. Irika introduced us to the kid one day. Anyway, what happened? Kotetsu replied. He's just exhausted. He probably did more on the mission than me, Kakashi said, rubbing the back of his neck. Kotetsu and Izumo just sweat dropped. Okay. We'll just get to Hokage-sama's office. Hokage's office. The old Hokage looked up as he saw Team 7 with a sleeping Naruto. He raised his eyebrow. What's happened with Naruto-kun? Kakashi sighed. He's just exhausted from the mission, Hokage-sama. He had to fight and defeat a Jonin-level ninja, he said. Sakura and Sasuke's eyes widened. The dope defeated that guy? I thought it was you, questioned the angry Uchiha. Calm down, Sasuke. We're in the Hokage's office, Kakashi said, trying to calm him. Sasuke quieted down but glared at the floor. Kakashi felt Naruto shift on his back and looked behind him. Good morning, he said cheerily. Yeah? I needed that sleep, said Naruto. He then realized where he was and bowed to Hokage. Hey, Gigi, he said, smiling. The old Hokage smiled back. Kakashi, I want a full report by tomorrow. The rest of you are free to go, said the Sandame. Sasuke, Sakura, and Sai left, leaving Sarutobi, Kakashi, and Naruto. Is there something you need for Naruto-kun? Asked the Hokage. There's something I need to tell you, Naruto said, as he faced Kakashi. It's about Kubikura Bocho. Kakashi nodded. I presume you found a way to use it? Naruto nodded as he took 2 bloody bones out from his shoulder. Hiruzen raised his eyebrow. We know of your bloodline, Naruto. What are you getting at? Keep watching Gigi, Naruto said with a foxy grin. Naruto activated his Ketsuryugen and controlled the blood. It crawled down the bones, and on each bone formed a full-sized Kubikura Bocho. Kakashi and Hiruzen's eyes widened. And Naruto? How? Asked Kakashi. Naruto stuck both bone butcher knives into the floor and stood on the top of the bone. Well, the Kubikura Bocho uses blood to reform, so I just sealed it inside me, giving it access to my chakra, and since I can control my blood, I just, reformed it, I guess. It was really just a working theory, so I don't know how to really explain it, explained the redhead. Well, however you did it, it was ingenious, Naruto-kun, said Sarutobi. Now if you could excuse yourself, I need to talk to Kakashi about an upcoming event. 1 week later, Naruto had just finished training and was ready for a nice 20 bowls of Ichiraka ramen. He walked in and saw Tucci and I am washing dishes. Hey, Tucci Gigi, start me off with 5 bowls of shrimp ramen, will you? He said, grinning. Tucci turned around and smiled. Sorry, my boy. You'll have to wait a few minutes. We're still washing dishes and making more noodles from our last company. She seemed like a real wreck, he said sympathetically. Naruto frowned. How many bowls did she eat? And who was she? Tucci laughed. Well, it's kind of funny, actually. She ate 42 bowls, he said. I believe it was the Hyuga girl you watch. Naruto's eyes widened. Hinata-chan ate F42B bowls. That's almost twice as much as me. I laughed. I know, we didn't tell her anything, but she just kept on going, really slow but steady. Well, Looks like that saying is true, Naruto muttered. Kurama chuckled. She's the one kid. She loves ramen just as much as you and can eat more. Can you imagine what she can do to your Kage bun dash, Kurama? Naruto yelled, blushing furiously. However, he couldn't stop but ponder on that thought, making him blush on the outside. Luckily, the Ichirakus didn't catch it, and he pushed away those thoughts before he had to use his Ketsuryugen to move his blood away from a certain part of his body. It had been one day since Naruto had tried to beat Hinata's unintentional record, and he still had a stomachache. He had collapsed at 33 bowls, and when Irika came by looking for him, he had to take him back to his apartment, /inn. Naruto still sleeps and eats at his apartment. He uses the estate for training and other ninja shit. If you live in a mansion all by yourself, it'll get really lonely. Naruto woke up and immediately ran to the bathroom to throw up. He was walking down the street and passed Ichiraka thinking about getting a bowl, but ultimately decided not to. He started to head to his parents' estate until an ANBU stopped him. Hokage-sama has summoned you, said the cat-masked ninja. All right. Oh, and you Gaonichin say hi to Hayaten for me, said the still nauseous Uzumaki. Hokage's office. Naruto-kun, do you know why I summoned you? Asked the aging man. Could it have to do with that event that you were going to talk to Kakashi Nizan about? Asked Naruto. Correct. Naruto-kun, praised the Hokage. In a week's time the Chunin exams will be starting. Now, since you have no team, it is up to you if you want to participate. Flashback. All the Jounin and some Chunin were gathered in the Hokage's office. Kakashi looked at the Hokage and asked, Is it time already? The Hokage nodded. Indeed it is. The Chunin exams are in 1 week, and I need to know who will be nominating their teams for the exams. Come up one by one. For Jounin stepped forward. I, Hatake Kakashi, leader of Team 7, nominate Haruno Sakura, Uchiha Sasuke, and Sai for the Chunin exams. I, Yuhi Kurenai, leader of Team 8, nominate Aburame Shino, Hyuga Hinata, and Inazuka Kiba for the Chunin exams. I, Madogai, leader of Team 9, nominate Higurashi Tenten, Hyuga Neji, and Rock Lee for the Chunin exams. I, Saratobi Asuma, leader of Team 10, nominate Akamichi Choji, Nara Shikamaru, and Yamanaka Ino for the Chunin exams. The Hokage nodded. Kakashi, however, had more to say. Hokage-sama, I believe you should consider asking Uzumaki Naruto for the Chunin exams. The room went quiet. Kakashi heard 3 "What's?" from Irika, Anko, who threw a kunai at him, and Kurenai. Yugao fell out of her hiding spot. Izumo and Kotetsu's jaws hit the floor. Gunma's sunbon dropped. Hate had a coughing fit, and Ibiki frowned. Kakashi caught all of these reactions and asked, Do you all know him personally? They all nodded. His eyebrows raised. Who started it? Irika spoke up, introduced him to Kotetsu, Izumo, and Anko. Kotetsu and Izumo introduced him to Gunma. Anko introduced him to Ibiki, Kurenai, and Yugao. Yugao introduced him to Hate. Well, that answers that question, said Kakashi. Kakashi, why do you think Naruto is ready? Asked Saratobi. Well, for one, who was outrunning Anbu, able to hide from Anbu, and playing pranks and not getting seen until he pulled it at the age of 10, pointed out Kakashi. Not only that, but on our A-rank mission, Naruto was able to defeat a Jounin-level ninja and stop Zabuza's sword with his own strength. He was also able to be acknowledged enough by Zabuza to be gifted his sword by Zabuza himself. The ninja in the room eyes widened. They didn't realize the significance of Naruto outrunning Anbu, and they definitely didn't know that Naruto defeated a Jounin-level ninja. This made them rethink him. The Hokage thought about it. Very well. I will ask Uzumaki Naruto about registering for the exams. Flashback end. Kakashi said that, said Naruto. It is true though, he added. The Hokage looked at him with great seriousness. The decision is up to you, Naruto-kun. Naruto looked at Saratobi with determination in his eyes. Hokage-sama, I wish to participate in the Chunin exams. The Hokage smiled and gave Naruto a piece of paper. Fill out this form and be at the academy in 1 week's time. 6 days later, Naruto had just gotten done with a measly 2 bowls of ramen. His stomach was still cramped from the amount he ate nearly a week ago. It was then he noticed what was following. Konohamaru. Rocks don't have eyes, and they aren't square, he said. He heard and poof, and 3 coughs. Udon. You used too much gunpowder, said Konohamaru. Sorry, Konohamaru, said a sick-sounding voice. When the smoke cleared, Naruto saw Konohamaru with 2 other kids. The first kid was male, had a gray sweater, glasses, brown hair, shorts, and snot coming out of his nose. The second was female. She had orange hair with 2 buns, a pink undershirt, red tank top, tan shorts, and a permanent blush. What are you doing, Konohamaru? Udon, Moegi, asked the redhead. You said you'd play ninja with us, said Konohamaru. Did I? I don't remember, said Naruto sarcastically. Please, boss, said the three kids. All right, you get 30 seconds to hide, said the smirking Naruto. Naruto closed his eyes as he heard the kids run away. Once he finished counting to 30, he ran the way he heard them run. After about a good 10 seconds of looking, he heard a scream. He ran towards an alley where the scream came from. What he saw enraged him. He saw a boy in a black catsuit with purple markings on his face and a pack on his back, holding up a girl with brown hair and a black shirt and pants. Next to him was a blonde girl with 4 braids, a white blouse with a red sash. She wore a fishnet underclothes and her headband around her neck. Put her down, Naruto demanded, stepping in front of the Konohamaru Corps who had heard the scream and came as well. Get out of here, kid. She needs to learn some manners, said the boy. He suddenly froze as he felt a massive amount coming at him, reminding him of unpleasant memories. Naruto felt the killing intent and turned his head slowly. What he saw both terrified him and made him happy. He saw Hinata with a purple aura and a killing intent that would make Kurama proud. Let her go, said the calm but irate girl. I'm never making her mad, thought Naruto. Hinata walked past Naruto and took out a kunai knife. The boy and girl watched Hinata as she came closer, and they started to tense. She walked in front of the boy and touched his arm that he was holding the girl up. His eyes widened and he screamed, "Hey, work, you bitch. What did you do to my arm?" he yelled. Hinata just picked up the girl. Come, Hanabi, we need to get you home, she said to the younger girl. Her aura was still dark, and she walked past Naruto, who was still shocked. He snapped out of it and gave her a nod. The cat-dressed boy reached for the pack on his back with his good arm. I wouldn't start a fight, said Naruto. Your friend isn't very happy, he said, pointing to a tree. As he said this, a boy with red hair, green eyes, and the kanji for love on his forehead appeared. He sunshined down with sand from a gourd on his back. The red-haired boy released a large amount of killing intent. Naruto released a larger amount, dwarfing the sand boy. Let me guess, you were here for the Chunin exams? Asked Naruto. The sand nin nodded. What is your name? Asked the sand nin. Uzumaki Naruto. What are your names? Asked Naruto. Sabaka no Gaara. My sister is Temari and my brother is Kankuro, said Gaara. Uzumaki Naruto. I will prove my existence. Naruto frowned. Okay. See you tomorrow. Naruto left with the Konohamaru Corps. The next day, Naruto woke up early to get to the academy. He decided that it would be better to get there before all the other teams so he wouldn't be a part of the crowd. He got to the academy 8:30. 2 other teams got there with him. A team from Kumo and a team from AIM. As Naruto walked up to the 2nd floor, he saw the team from AIM trying to get into 305 and past 2 genin who looked a lot like 2 gate guards he knew. He laughed to himself as he walked on the ceiling to the real 305. When he got there, he saw Iruka waiting for him. Naruto, you decided to take it, huh? The scarred Chunin asked. Yep, I think I might stand a chance. I just have to use my brains, said the redhead. All right, just give me your form and you can get in, Iruka said as Naruto passed him his form. Naruto walked into 305 and saw the Kumo team in a corner. There were 2 girls and 1 guy. The guy had white hair, dark skin, a hoodie, black pants, a katana, and a lollipop. The girl had long red hair, her headband in a bandana, a gray dress, and tall ninja boots. The last girl had a black shirt with clouds, gray pants, long blonde hair, and bandages around her arms. Naruto got a weird feeling about the last girl but put it off for the time being. He just made sure to keep an eye on them for Hinata. Naruto went to the nearest desk and laid down on it and laid his head on his hands. He decided to talk to Kurama for the time being until one of his friends got there. Mindscape. Hey Kurama, did you get a weird feeling about the blonde girl? Yeah, kid. I felt that chakra somewhere, but it's probably been over 200 years since I've seen her, said the Kyuubi. Her? Naruto asked. Matatabi, the Nibi. Last I heard she was in Kumo's possession, so that's most likely her, Kurama stated. Okay, so what do we do about it? Asked the Uzumaki. You go ahead with the Chunin exams. I'll try and open a channel between us Bija. From what I sensed yesterday, that Gaara is the Jinchuriki of Shikaku. You'll have to watch him closely, said Kurama. All right, Kurama. Thanks for the info, Naruto said. Outside Mindscape, Naruto, yo Naruto, said a lazy voice. Naruto opened his eyes and saw Shikamaru standing over him. Yeah? He asked. How long have you been here? Asked Shikamaru. 8:30, Naruto responded. Lucky bastard, Shikamaru muttered. You just want to be in bed right now, don't you? Naruto asked, smirking. As troublesome as this thing is, I'd rather be here than having to hear Ino's yelling, Shikamata replied with the same smirk. Hey, Dobe, this thing is for teams only, said a scowling Sasuke. Team? If you don't remember, I'm my own team and have a team number, so I can be here right now, said Naruto glaring at the Uchiha. He looked behind Sasuke and saw the rest of Team 7, the rest of Team 10, and Team 8. He saw Kiba making advances on Hinata and decided to do something about it. Hey, Hinata-chan. Shino. What's up? He half asked and half yelled into Kiba's ear. This causes the Inuzuka to back up in pain and disorient him. I'm doing well, Naruto-san. Kiba has been a pain, but we have done well on missions thanks to Kurenai-sensei, said Shino. I am okay, and Naruto-kun. I am still trying to get you used to the S-seal. But it's getting better, Hinata said, smiling gently at her crush. Naruto was about to respond when a leaf nin with gray hair and glasses came up to the rookies. You guys should really keep it down. Everybody's already tense enough as it is, he informed them. And you are? Asked Ino. Yakushi Kabuto. All right. And is that all? Asked Naruto. Kid, something's not right. This guy reeks of snake, said Kurama. I know, Naruto thought. Well, since you guys are only rookies, I'll help you out, he said as he pulled out cards. These are my ninja info cards. They can tell you anything about anyone in this room. Give me info on Rock Lee, said Sasuke. You already know his name. That's no fun. Kabuto pouted. Rock Lee, he is a genin of Konoha and a year older than you guys. His sensei is Madogai and his teammates are Hyuga Neji and Higurashi Tenden. He has high skill in taijutsu. He has no skill in ninjutsu or genjutsu. Sasuke frowned. How could that guy have beat him? He was an elite. I know almost everyone's strengths and weaknesses because of these cards. The ninja over there are from Otogekyur. It's a fairly new village, so they could only send one team, he said, pointing to a team with music note forehead protections. He thinks he can talk bad about our village, does he? Said one Oto nin with a hunched back, bandages covering his face, and a gauntlet on his right arm. Well, we'll just show him he's the best, he said as he and his teammates rushed at Kabuto. Kabuto-san. Look out, yelled Ino. The gauntlet-wearing ninja punched at Kabuto, who dodged it at the last second. However, a few seconds later, Kabuto's glasses broke and he started to throw up blood. Before anyone could do anything, a giant cloud of smoke appeared in the middle of the room. Enough. All of you sit down now, yelled a giant man with a scarred face. Naruto smirked. Hey, Ibiki-chan, he said in a sing-song voice. Ibiki's eye twitched and he growled. Naruto. Just go sit down. As Naruto sat down, he heard an eep to his right. He looked towards the sound and saw Hinata looking down at the table with a blush on her face. Hey, Hinata, said Naruto. Hello, and Naruto-kun, she replied. Do well. Okay, he said with a thumbs up and a smile. This just caused the shy girl to blush even more. Oh, okay, why you do well too, she said with a smile with her eyes closed. If she hadn't had her eyes closed, she would have seen the small blush that crept onto Naruto's face. All right, said Ibiki, you're going to be taking a written test. You have 10 points, and there are 10 questions. Every time you are caught cheating, you will have 2 points taken away. You have 45 minutes. As he got his test, Naruto's eyes narrowed. What the hell is this? How am I supposed to know this? Sucks for you, kid, said Kurama. You're no help, thought the annoyed boy. He looked over to Hinata and saw that she had her head down and her Byakugan active. So, we're supposed to cheat to get the answers, huh? Naruto asked himself. You should ask that vixen of yours for the answers. I'm sure she'll give them to you, said the fox. I'm not using her like that, thought the redhead. Well, you have to think of something, responded Kurama. Ibiki looked over the genin until his eyes landed on Naruto. He was zoned out, probably thinking of a plan. Let's see what you come up with, brat. I got it, Naruto thought. Naruto put his hands under the table in a tiger hand sign. A strong wind came from an open window and blew many tests in the air. Naruto activated his wind armor and grabbed a full test before anyone could see him. He replaced the name and put the test back on the table and rested until the test was over. 35 minutes later. All right, it is time for the 10th question, announced Ibiki. If you want to leave now, do it. Your team will be leaving with you. Why would we want to do that? Asked Kiba. Because, if you answer the question wrong, you can never take the exams again, Ibiki said. What? Exclaimed Temari. That's not fair. There are people who have taken it multiple times here right now, growled Kiba. That's too bad. This is my first year as proctor. So will you be taking the question or not? He said with a sinister grin. A person to Naruto's left got up and left the room with his teammates in tow. Over 10 teams had left and Naruto had fallen asleep. Ibiki saw this and went up to the Uzumaki. He hit him upside the head. Ow, 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 ow. The hell was that for? Asked the angered redhead. You fell asleep? Growled Abiki. Well, it's obvious I'm not answering the question. I wouldn't deny a mission just cause I didn't like it, would I? No. That's the point of the question. To see if you have the guts to become a Chunin, explained Naruto. Everyone in the room was surprised at Naruto's answer. This strengthened everyone's resolve, especially a blue-haired girl's, and they decided to take the question. Abiki smiled and said, "Good, then you all dash." But before he could finish, a figure crashed through the window. "Pass," yelled an eccentric voice. "Oh God," said Naruto as he slumped into his seat. Anko looked around the room and saw the amount of teams. "I am Mitarashi Anko, the sexiest kunoichi in Konoha," said Anko. "Hey," laughed Naruto. Anko marched over to Naruto and grabbed his ear. "What was that?" she yelled. "Ow, ow, ow, ow. It's my opinion. I have a type, you know," yelled the Uzumaki as Anko's grip got tighter. "Oh, and you know, I know who it is. So it's either me or I spill your little secret," Anko said sadistically, glancing over to Hinata for a split second so that only Naruto could see it. Naruto was sweating and his eyes widened. Okay, you're right. I'm wrong. My opinion doesn't matter," he yelled. "Now let me fucking go." "Nope." "All right, maggots. The second round will be taking place at Training Ground 44, said Anko as she jumped out the window with a teary-eyed Naruto clinging onto dear life so his ear wouldn't be ripped off. As the teams left the building towards Training Ground 44, a lot of girls were wondering who the mysterious girl that Naruto liked was, especially a blonde gossip queen and a Hyuga girl. As the teams neared Training Ground 44, they could still hear Naruto's screams of pain. They were near tears because of the laughing fits they were in. As the teams got to the giant forest that was Training Ground 44, they saw Naruto slumped on the floor rubbing his ear, scowling at the laughing Anko. The teams caught their attention after Kiba cleared his throat. "All right, this is where the second test will take place. This is Training Ground 44, or the Forest of Death," said the sadistically happy Nko. "This is Training Ground 44, or the Forest of Death," Naruto repeated mockingly. He felt something graze his cheeks and looked at the ground. He saw a kunai with blood stuck into the grass, and his eye twitched. "That's it, I'm going to fucking kill you," he screamed at Anko. He took out two 3-pronged kunai that looked a lot like his dad's, but the side prongs went straight out horizontally and were sharp. The kunai started to glow and Anko's eyes widened. When chakra started to come off the prongs, making the side prongs 6 inches long and the top prong 1.5 feet. The prongs started to glow red, and fire chakra enveloped it. Naruto's black fire began to flicker inside the wind chakra. Anko backed up and ran as Naruto started to chase her. "All right, Gakis. You will be starting with one scroll, either a heaven or earth scroll. To complete this test, you need to have a heaven or earth scroll when you arrive at the tower in the middle of the forest. You will not be able to forfeit until you get to the tower with both scrolls. You have 5 days. Now go to the tents over there to sign your consent forms so that Konoha will not be liable for your deaths." "Yes, there will be deaths." "All right," yelled Anko, still running from Naruto. Gaki calmed down. "I'm sorry, geez." As soon as Anko said that, Naruto calmed down and put his kunai away. "Was that so hard?" he asked as he went to the tents. Anko just stood there flabbergasted. "Damn it," she thought. Naruto got in the UZ line to sign his form behind Ino. The blonde turned around and saw Naruto behind her and smirked. "So, Naruto, why don't you tell me who this girl is?" she asked. Naruto's eye twitched. "Great. Now I'm going to be bombarded by questions by the gossip queen of Konoha," he thought. "No," he responded. What?" the Yamanaka asked. "I said no. If I tell you, I know you can't keep it to yourself. You'll tell everyone you can. Eventually, everyone in the village will know, and there will be no reason to keep it to myself. The village will go after her because of me. There's a reason I don't exactly talk about the people I love openly. I can trust Shikamaru, though. Hell, he's probably known since the first year of the academy," Naruto explained. By this time, it was Ino's turn to sign her consent form. She went to her team, still thinking about the redhead. Naruto sighed and signed his form. He went to the tent with the scrolls. He gave the Chunin his consent form and was given his scroll. He was guided to his gate between an AIM team and another Konoha team. I should probably avoid as many teams as possible. Setting traps is the best option here, he thought. "Kid, are you going to use the Kubikurabocho?" asked Kurama. "You crazy?" "Of course I am. That's the best sword I've ever had. I can't wait to use it," he thought. "Think of all the reactions," he added, slightly sadistically. Inside his mind, Kurama's sweat dropped. "You know, Kit, I think Anko's rubbing off on you." "You thin dash," Naruto was about to think, but was cut off by the loudspeaker. "All right, you maggots. The gates will be open in 3, 2, 1. Gee, whoa, yelled Anko as the gates to the Forest of Death opened and all 27 teams ran inside. Kuchios no Jutsu. Kage Bunshin no Jutsu. Naruto yelled using Kurama's chakra to summon a wolf-sized version of the nine-tailed fox and 4 clones of himself. Finally, I get to stretch my legs, yelled the QB passive-aggressively at the redhead. I haven't had time to summon you. Now, if you want me to pass, you'll help me set up traps and make sure no one is near. I don't know how to set up traps. Are you insane? I'm a fucking fox meat sack, yelled the fox. Okay, with Team 10, we should go after Billboard Brow's team. There's no way they can beat us, yelled Ino, troublesome. Ino, they have Sasuke, who is probably High Chunin, and the Psy guy who we have no information about, and Sakura, I guess. Realistically, the best team to go after is Naruto, but he can make Kage Bunshins, which is more than enough to take us on. So, we need to play the tactical game and watch our enemies. That's when we will strike, said Shikamaru. You're no fun, Shikamaru, muttered the blonde. With Team 8. Team 8 was currently setting up a trap to get their scroll, unknowingly being watched by a team. Since the tower is where everyone is going to be headed, the best thing to do is to set traps, said Kiba. Akamaru sniffed the air, alerting Team 8 to the team who was watching them. Stupid kids, they might as well be asking us to capture them. From the sound of things, they know we're her, but they haven't found out where, said the enemy shinobi, only to freeze up and lose the color in his face. Yo, what's wrong? Your face is white as snow, asked his teammate. You're GH, yelled the first boy. His teammates looked at the back of his neck and saw a giant leech sucking the blood out of the back of his neck. What the hell is that thing? Yelled the second teammate, only to look up with his other teammate and see tons of the same leeches fall down on top of them. Ow! The team fell onto a net where they saw a teammate in front of them. The leeches in this forest can sense heat in the body and fling themselves en masse. Unfortunate for you guys, because if you can't get them within 5 minutes, you're done. And if you panic, well, said Kiba. Heal, yelled the enemy team. One team down, said Kiba as he picked up their scroll. And looky here, Akamaru. They got the scroll we need, he added, looking at his team. Let's get to the tower. Oh, and Hina-chan, why don't we dash? No, responded the Hyuga. With Team 7. Did you guys hear that? Asked Sakura. This place is super creepy. I'm sure it's nothing, said Sai. That smile is even creepier, thought the girl. SH, said Sasuke. There's someone out there. Suddenly a volley of shuriken came flying at the team. Scatter, yelled Sasuke. As the team dodged the shuriken, a team of aim ninja came down from the trees. Well, what do we have here? A bunch of kids? Well, since you survived, why don't you tell me which one of you has the scroll? Said a black-haired aim nin with a face mask. Well, since you won't tell me, I guess I'll have to be direct, he yelled as he ran at Sakura. Katan, Housenka no Jutsu, yelled Sasuke. The aim nin dodged the volley of fireballs, and Sasuke rushed at the enemy. The aim nin ran higher into the trees, Sasuke on his heels. The Uchiha landed on a branch as the aim nin threw a kunai at him. Sasuke dodged to the left as the kunai hit the branch. He smirked until he heard a SSS sound and looked at the knife. His eyes widened as he saw an explosive node about to blow up. The node exploded, sending Sasuke to the floor. Thanks for that opening, said the aim nin, landing behind Sasuke. Now stay still. One false move, and I'll kill you. Hand over the scroll. Sasuke-kun, yelled Sakura. Sai took out his tanto, rushing at the ninja, replacing himself with Sasuke. He stabbed the aim nin in the gut. Hey, you're GH, yelled the nin. Damn, this is bad. I thought coming alone would help me conceal my presence, but it's been a failure. I gotta leave. Sasuke turned around, seeing the aim nin retreating. He gritted his teeth. Damn it. He got away. With Naruto. Nobody yet? Asked Naruto to his fox companion. Actually, I just picked up on a team. It seems to be that Kabuto Gaki's team. I can tell from their chakra that they are experienced, but pick them off one by one, and you'll be fine. All right, said Naruto. Kage Bunshin no Jutsu. As 10 clones came into existence. Create a perimeter around his team. Nobody leaves it. The clones nodded and shined away. Now let's go play, said Kurama. Kabuto, 11, number 12 people creating a perimeter around us. What should we do? Asked a man with a mask, bandana, and dark glasses. Kabuto frowned. 12? Are you sure about that, Yoroi? He asked. The man named Yoroi nodded. From what I can tell, 11 of them have equal chakra while one has, what the foo? Its chakra is the strongest I've ever felt. Kabuto's frown deepened. All right, stop. The team stopped on a branch and heard 12 pairs of feet land around them. All right, you can come out, said another man with a mask, bandana, and clear glasses. As soon as the third man said that, the team saw who created the noise. Out of the shadows stepped 10 Uzumaki Narutos and one wolf-sized fox. Kabuto's eyes narrowed. He knew he heard 12. The question was, where was he? He was about to find out. Quick question. What's your opinion on blood? Asked Naruto. Now the team was confused. What are you talking about? Asked the third man. Naruto's blank face soon had a sadistic smile plastered across it. You'll soon find out, he said as he and the other 9 clones dropped unsealed scrolls to the ground. The team looked down at the ground and saw the 11th clone. Hey, look over here, said the mysterious fox. When the team looked at the fox, they were hit with the biggest killing intent they had ever felt. The team was now locked in place, with Yoroi and the third man sprawled on the ground with Kabuto on his knees. They became even more frightened when they saw the 11 Naruto's eyes change. The Narutos made several hand signs and placed their hands on the ground. A giant rumbling noise came from the ground. The team's eyes popped out of their sockets as 4 giant walls of blood surrounded them, dwarfing the trees as it went higher. With Anko, currently Konoha's resident snake mistress, was eating dango and was halfway through creating a lead symbol. She looked towards the forest, and her eyes widened, and she choked on her ball of dango. She saw 4 walls of blood coming up from the trees and 12 figures climb the wall. Damn, Naruto, you really want a scroll, don't you, to use that move? She thought, remembering when she used a downgraded version of the move he was about to use. With Naruto, the Narutos started to spin as they each grabbed 2 bone blades. They held the blades straight as they guided blood down their arms with their dojutsu. The blood began to envelope their arms and the bones, causing everything above his elbow to become a blade of blood. The Narutos began to spin closely around Kurama, who himself was already spinning. This caused them to become a drill of blood blades with the strongest of all the bijou in the middle. Team Kabuto was frantically trying to get away, but they couldn't find any way out. They looked up and saw the drill of red and black above them. SHID, they all thought. As Naruto got closer, he smirked as he got an idea. Sorry, not sorry, Kiba, he thought. Kitsuga, he yelled as he impacted the team. Echoed throughout the entire forest. With teammate, Kiba suddenly sneezed. Are you all right, Kiba? Asked Hinata. Yeah, I'm fine, Hinata-chan, responded the boy. Anyways, surviving this forest was as easy as I had thought. We rule, right, Akamaru? Woof, responded Akamaru. We really lucked out. The first people to fall into our trap were carrying the Earth Scroll we needed. We'll be at the tower in no time, yelled Kiba. Calm down, it's too early to celebrate. This forest is crawling with enemies, scolded Shino. When feeling threatened, even the smallest bug will dash. All right already. I got it, but how you always manage to twist things around so it is related to bugs amazes me. Anyways, I'm still the team leader, said Kiba. But maybe SH Shino is alright, said Hinata. ***. Fine, Hinata-chan, said Kiba. Wait. Hold it. He yelled as he and Akamaru sniffed the air. If we're supposed to be on the lookout, Hinata should check out ahead of us for the next kilometer. Alright. Let me see check, responded the Hyuga, Byakugan. Hinata's vision stretched out and saw Gaara along with 5 other people, his teammates and another team in a standoff. Someone is in a fight. There are 6 people, she said. Let's go take a look, exclaimed Kiba. Huh? Asked Kiba. Kiba, think logically. What would that accomplish? Asked Shino. To pass the exam, we were told to steal and deliver 1 Earth and Heaven scroll. Nobody said we couldn't take more than 1. If we grab more than 1 pair, the fewer teams will get scrolls. So more teams will fail. Kiba explained. But, Hinata tried. I just want to look. If it's too dangerous, we'll leave. Kiba interrupted. Now let's go, he added as he jumped away with Akamaru. Damn, thought Shino as he joined him along with Hinata. As the team arrived at the standoff, Akamaru began to shake and whimper. Kiba frowned. Akamaru, what's wrong? Why did WESD stop? Asked Hinata. Something scared Akamaru. He is able to sniff an enemy's chakra. He can smell the enemy's strength, so the fact that he's scared isn't a good sign, Kiba explained as he looked at Gaara. The Suna team was in a standoff with another AIM team. The nerve of those Sunagake Yurgakis, trying to take us. How stupid, said the tallest member. What the hell is the redhead doing, taking them on? Kiba thought as Akamaru whimpered. Akamaru, what is it, boy? Kiba, what's wrong? Asked Shino. It's Akamaru, he's frightened. Of the short one. He says he feels cold, whatever that means. They all seem very dangerous and strong, thought Hinata. Prepare to meet your maker, yelled the tall AIM. Are you going to fight us, or talk us to death? asked Gaara. Why you little dash, growled Aim. I can't tell if this group has heaven or earth. Maybe they don't have either, thought Kankuro. Hey Garu, I thought we weren't going to fight anyone unless they had the scroll that we needed. There's no point in fighting if they don't have the scroll we need. Kankuro, shut up, or I'll kill you, Gaara said calmly. Anyone who crosses me is dead. All right, I'm fine with that, yelled the Aim as he took out 4 umbrellas. He threw the umbrellas into the air and made hand signs. You're dead. Ninpa, Jyoro Sinbin. Saban needles flew off the umbrellas headed for Gaara. Just before the 1,000 needles could hit the boy, a wall of sand blocked all of them, leaving him unharmed. Is that all? Asked Gaara. Impossible. None of them hit him, said the Aim. Some attack that was. Well, my turn to respond with a deluge of blood. Kiba's eyes widened, his chakra. It's so powerful. And his sand, it reeks of blood. Gaara extended his hand. Sabakukyu, he said as a hand of sand reached out to the tall Aim and wrapped around him. Gaara closed his hand, and what happened next could only be described as a shower of blood as the Aim was crushed. Sabakusoso. Team 8's eyes were wide as they saw what happened. We gotta get out of here, said Kiba. The team got up and left towards the tower, not seeing when Gaara looked towards where they were hiding. Naruto was running through the forest towards the tower after he had performed his now-named Kitsueki Gitsuga, Blood Fong over Fong. He was 5 kilometers away when he heard a scream that sounded like a certain pink-haired girl. UUGH, he groaned in his mind. He didn't want to, but he decided to check it out. As he got to where he heard the scream come from, he landed on a higher branch. What he saw terrified him. He saw a knocked-out Sai and a frozen Sakura and Sasuke. But that wasn't what terrified him. In front of Team 7 was a giant snake with a man on top of it. Besides Anko, the only other person was the most famous missing nin among all the elemental nations. His name was Orochimaru, the snake Sanin. He took out 2 bones and with the help of his Ketsuryugen had 2 Kubikirabocho blades in hands. He leaped down at the giant snake as it rushed at Team 7. Before anyone knew, the snake's head was detached from his body and Naruto was in front of Team 7 in a defensive form with both swords held backhand. Dobe, we don't need you, said Sasuke just as he and Sakura passed out from the bloodlust in the area. You know, I might not like them, but they're Leaf Ninja, my comrades, Naruto said facing Orochimaru. This Gaki, how did he? I didn't even sense him, thought Orochimaru. The snake man smiled. Well, let's see if you prove a better opponent than Sasuke-kun. Naruto narrowed his eyes. Why are you here? Orochimaru. Well, curious now are we? Well, let's just say that Sasuke-kun's eyes are the key to my success, explained Orochimaru. With Anko, nothing goes better with dango than red bean soup. And as soon as I'm finished eating, I'll head to the tower, Anko thought. The good team should be done in less than a day, she added as she threw her last dango stick at a tree, creating the symbol of Konoha. Anko-san, yelled a Chunin. Terrible news. Already? She whined. Dead bodies. 3 of them, explained the Chunin. Dead bodies, she asked. Dead, and very deformed. Please come take a look, said the Chunin. Deformed? Anko thought. Judging from their belongings and the papers we found, they are shinobi of Kusugakure. They were registered to take the Chunin exams, explained Kotetsu, and as you can see, their features are completely gone. Their faces as smooth as if they were completely melted off. No doubt about it. I know who did this. But why would he be here? Anko thought. Show me the photos from the shinobi's bodies at once. As Anko saw the photos, her blood ran cold. She saw a Kusanin who had been near her when she was chased by Naruto, so he stole this face. But that means he had done it before the exams had even started. You 3. Report everything to Hokage-sama. Ask that he deploys 2 additional Black Ops to the forest at once. I'm going after the imposters. The key to your success? Naruto questioned. I wish to learn every jutsu in the world, to become the strongest. The Sharingan is the best way to achieve my goal, Orochimaru said. You're insane, yelled the Uzumaki as he ran at Orochimaru, flaring his Kyuubi chakra. He created 2 Kage Bunshin that went at Orochimaru's side. Konoha Ryu Mikazuki no Mai, Naruto said as he cut Orochimaru's chest. As he was about to land on a branch, he felt something slimy wrap around him. He looked down and saw a tongue. He looked for where it was coming from and looked towards Orochimaru and saw it was coming from his mouth. He was brought face to face with. Orochimaru looked at Naruto's eyes and saw that they were red with a slit pupil. Heh, so the Nine-Tails Gaki is still alive and kicking. How interesting. And it seems you have full control over the beast, said Orochimaru as he lifes Naruto's shirt. And there's the proof, the seal on your stomach that keeps it trapped. But we can't have you as a threat. It's too bad I can't seal you. Fuin. Five-pronged seal, he said as he plunged his fingers into Naruto's gut. Hey, you're RGH, yelled the redhead. Orochimaru threw the boy but was surprised when he was still conscious as he landed on a branch. He saw Naruto's eyes widening and saw the smirk on his face. This isn't the best time to be smiling, Gaki, said the Sannin. It was then that he felt tingling on his legs. He looked down and saw thousands of bugs crawling up his leg. He attempted to move but couldn't. He gritted his teeth and looked around to see where the bugs may be coming from. Bitsuga, came a voice. 2 drills came from the forest and Orochimaru felt 2 drills hit his back. He was knocked to the ground with 2 wounds in his back. He looked up towards Naruto and saw another team in front of the redhead. An Inuzuka, a Hyuga, and an Aburame. Heh, that wasn't so hard, said the Inuzuka. He looked towards Naruto. You really need to choose better battles. I may not like you a lot, but I don't want you dead, he added. Guys, said Naruto, surprised to see someone stand up for him. Let's get this traitor, he smirked. Now I like the sound of that, said Kiba. He punched his hand into his palm and looked towards his teammate. Let's do this. Shino and Hinata nodded, the latter activating her dojutsu. Naruto got up and looked towards Orochimaru. He saw Orochimaru open his mouth and stretch it out. He almost threw up at what he saw. He saw a new and healed Orochimaru climb out of the beaten Orochimaru's mouth. Orochimaru faced Hinata and saw her dojutsu activate. He licked his lips and thought, a Byakugan? Huh? That'll be nice to get a hold of. Naruto, where Orochimaru was looking and his blood ran cold. He's not thinking of doing what I think he's doing? Is he? Orochimaru launched himself at Hinata and saw her teams, and the QB brat's eyes widen. Just as was about to mark her, he was hit by the flat of Naruto's blade. That took too much of my strength. I can't stay awake, he thought as he fell to the ground unconscious. Teammate looked at the fallen Izumaki. Shino and Kiba moved him behind them and then stepped in front of Hinata. Kiba and Akamaru jumped at the missing Nin, Gitsuga. Kiba yelled. This time Orochimaru saw the attack and swatted the duo away, causing them to hit a tree, rendering them too weak to fight. Shino attempted to catch him with his bugs, but having lost the element of surprise, Orochimaru simply dodged the bugs and kicked Shino in the solar plexus, rendering him unable to battle, just like Kiba. He looked at the Hyuga, whose eyes were now wide with terror. He extended his neck, and before Hinata could do anything, she felt his teeth sink into her neck. Aya! Hinata screamed, and then passed out. Orochimaru faced the unconscious Sasuke and hit him in the same place on the neck. Now if you'll excuse me, I have a date to get to, he said to Shino, Kiba, and Akamaru, who had seen everything. Kiba, we need to get them to the tower. We have 4 scrolls. Naruto has his 2, and Team 7 will need to use our extra scrolls so they can get in, explained Shino. Kiba nodded at his friend's logic and picked up Naruto and Hinata, and transformed. Akamaru picked up Sai and Sakura, with Shino picking up Sasuke. With Anko, it's already night. I have to find him soon. The darker it gets, the worse the situation will be. Anko thought. But why choose now to show himself? What's he playing at? Not that it matters. I'll kill him. No matter how hard it will be. I'm going to kill him, even if it means dying. If I can't kill you, I'll slow you down until the AMBU arrive. To kill you, isn't it Orochimaru? Anko asked. Impossible, said Orochimaru. Anko jumped off the branch and took 4 saban from her kunai pouch. As she was about to launch them at her old sensei, Orochimaru spit his tongue at her, catching her arm. That didn't stop the snake mistress. She took a hold of his tongue hard when he tried to pull her toward him. Hidden shadow snake hands, exclaimed Anko. She pulled even harder, pulling Orochimaru toward her, launching him through the air. He hit the branch and was dragged by Anko. They slammed into the tree, causing both of them to grunt in pain. Anko pinned the snake man against the tree, trapping him by stabbing their hands together with a kunai. Got you, she said. Now why don't you lend me a hand? She added, grabbing a hold of his left hand with her right as she made a hand sign. Orochimaru's eyes widened when he recognized the seals. That's the dash, he said. That's right, we'll be dying together, said Anko sadistically. Twin snakes kill each other. Orochimaru smiled. So you want to commit suicide? How sweet, he said. Suddenly the voice came from somewhere else. But that's just a bunshin. Anko's eyes widened as the bunshin popped and looked behind her. Even if you are an elite ninja of Konoha, you mustn't forget everything I taught you, said Orochimaru. Anko gritted her teeth. Why? Why are you here now? She asked. Orochimaru smiled. For nostalgia, my dearest Anko. And it even seems that you're not happy to see me. Ooh, is it an assassination? Are you after Hokage-sama? asked Anko. Orochimaru's smile turned sadistic. Now. You don't have the authority to know that. But right now, I'm just here to leave my mark. In fact, I just left too. I think you'll find out soon. Anko's eyes widened as she reached to the back of her neck where the same mark Orochimaru had branded Hinata and Sasuke was. Who was it? She asked. One boy and a girl. Like I said, you'll find out soon, Orochimaru responded. Why, you're a monster. They'll be dead in no time. Only 1 out of 10 survive. Anko growled. Orochimaru tilted his head. Possibly, but I have a feeling these two will pull through, he said victoriously. Now, if you don't mind. I'll be leaving now. Can't stick around forever, he added as he disappeared in a shunshin. ******* Need to tell. Hokage-sama, Anko said just before blacking out. 6 hours after the fight, Shino, Kiba, and Akamaru had found a tree with an opening under it to lay the others down. It was currently the second day of the exam, and things were not going well. They had had to avoid at least 3 teams in 6 hours and were all out of supplies. The best they could do was put wet towels on Naruto, Hinata, Sasuke, Sakura's foreheads. Sasuke would constantly scream out in pain, Hinata would whimper, and Naruto would groan and hold his hand to his stomach. Because of this, Kiba had joked that Naruto was just hungry. 12 hours after the fight. What happened? Asked a waking up Sakura. Suddenly her eyes widened. Sasuke Kun, she yelled. Kiba and Shino flinched, and Akamaru whined. She looked towards the boys and narrowed her eyes. What are you doing? Trying to make Sasuke-kun lose? She questioned angrily. Before Kiba could retaliate, Shio spoke up. Sakura-san, Naruto-san arrived to help your team when he heard you scream. When he got there, he saw your teammate unconscious and you about to collapse. He defended your team after Sasuke-san fainted. He fought Orochimaru until our team arrived. We backed him up, where he fainted as well. We were severely beaten, and that was when Orochimaru bit both Hinata and Sasuke-san, he explained. Sakura's eyes widened. He attacked Sasuke-kun? Kiba spoke up. Yeah, along with your other teammate, Naruto, and our team, he muttered. Sakura shot him a glare. I just need to know if Sasuke-kun is fine, she said. Sasuke-san is fine, if not a few cries of pain in his sleep. He is otherwise unharmed, Shino said. Sakura breathed out in a sigh of relief. She jumped behind Kiba when she heard a twig snap. Kiba looked towards the sound. He saw a squirrel and sweat dropped. Is she really a kunoichi? He thought. Suddenly his eyes widened as he smelled fire coming from the squirrel. Shit. Paper bomb. He grabbed a kunai and threw it at the squirrel. It skimmed the squirrel, but took the paper bomb with it, exploding right before it hit the end of the clearing. Well, they're pretty smart. They noticed the paper bomb, said the black-haired Odo Nin from the first exam. It seems they did, Zaku, said the bandaged one. So what are we waiting for, Dosu? Asked a girl with long black hair and a green vest with snakeskin clothes. You want to talk about creepy, muttered Zaku. The Odo team jumped down from the tree landing in front of the 3 conscious Konoha genin. Hey, you there with the obnoxiously pink hair, said Dosu. Wake up, Sasuke. The 3 of us want to take him on. Like hell you will. If you want to get to him, you'll have to go through us, growled Kiba. Huh? So you think you will be able to keep us at bay? That's hilarious, chuckled Zaku. I just hate the wannabe kunoichi who bring a bad name to all kunoichi, scoffed Kin. What are you talking about? All I know is that some guy called Orochimaru is causing all of this. So what do you want with Sasuke-kun? Sakura asked. When she mentioned Orochimaru, Odo was surprised. Why do you want to fight him now, and what does the mark on his neck mean? He's not even conscious, so just leave, she yelled. I wonder what Orochimaru-sama is up to, spoke Dosu. Zaka laughed. Whatever. After that I can't just walk away without a fight. First I'll destroy you, your friends, and your precious Sasuke-kun too. Zaka, wait. Let me have the girl. Kin yelled. Zaka scoffed. Fine. But you're mine, he said as he pointed to Kiba. Kiba growled at the mutt part. All right. Shino, Sakura, let's show them what Konoha is made of, he said, tossing a pill to Akamaru. Jujinbun Shin. He cried and he and Akamaru became 2 feral-looking Kibas. He rushed at Zaku, while Kin ran towards Sakura, and Shino and Dosa met head-on. Gutsuga, yelled Kiba as he and Akamaru launched at the Odo Nin. Decapitating airwaves, yelled Zaku as a strong gust of wind hit the Inuzuka duo, sending them off course. Kiba hit, and Akamaru hit a boulder, with Akamaru being knocked unconscious from the impact. Akamaru, yelled Kiba. He faced Zaku and snarled. Damn you. he said as he threw down a smoke bomb that enveloped him and Zaku. You really think this will work? I can just blow it awa, orf. Zaku was about to say until he was hit in the solar plexus by Kiba. You talk too much, said the Inuzuka. Zaku seethed. You damn brat. You'll pay for that. Decapitating airwaves. Zaku yelled, dispersing the smoke and blowing Kiba away into the same boulder head first. He heard Dosa speak to his enemy and he felt a giant killing intent. Kin versus Sakura. Do I really have to narrate this? We all know how this will go. Kin held on to Sakura's hair and knocked her out. It was then she heard what Dosa said and a giant killing intent, and she looked towards the giant tree. With Shino and Dosu. Unfortunately for you, your teammates will be killed by the time we're done with you. All your friends will be dead, said Dosu. Shinto's high buzzed louder. I don't like you threatening me out, my friends, he said as he released his bugs. Dosa held up his right arm and released a giant sound wave that dispersed the bug and hit Shino. Ugh, grunted Shino. He looked up and saw Dosa rushing towards with a kunai in his hands. Like I said, you won't win. Maybe I'll have some fun with that blue-haired girl as well. Dosa laughed. As soon as Dosa finished his sentence, he felt a giant killing intent that dwarfed Orochimaru's focused on him. His eyes widened and he began to hyperventilate. He shakily looked towards the tree the other four were under, and what he saw scared the living daylights out of him. He saw Naruto standing up, his arms limp at his sides. But that wasn't what terrified him. He looked into his eyes and saw the Ketsuryugen with blood pouring out of them. Naruto was staring directly into Dosu's eyes, freezing Dosu. He then saw a red flash and felt the killing intent behind him. He turned his head and saw Naruto with a red aura around him. Naruto's eyes narrowed. You know, there are two things that anger me the most. Waking me up and threatening my friends. And anyone who has threatened Hinata hasn't gotten away untouched. Naruto hit Dosu in the solar plexus and sent him flying into a nearby tree. The Odonin got the wind knocked out of him, but he never got a chance to breath as he took an axe kick to the head from the redhead. Before Dosa hit the ground, he was thrown 30 feet by Naruto, who landed on top of him and began to punch Dosa nonstop. He could hear Shino and Kiba shouting at him to calm down, but he didn't listen. A/N. Imagine Naruto punching Deidara when he found out Gaara was dead. Naruto began to take out a bone blade, fused to give the final blow before he heard a voice cry out, Naruto Kaien. Naruto looked over to where the voice came from and his eyes widened as he got off the bloody and beaten Dosu. He dropped his weapon and saw a shaking Hinata under the tree, wide-eyed with tears in her eyes. He looked around to see a frightened Zaku, Kin, Kiba, and Shino. He saw Sakura, but who TF cares? He then realized what had just happened. What the fuck? Was I really about to kill him? He thought. He looked into Hinata's eyes, but immediately looked away with a shameful look on his face. We need to get to the tower. Kiba, you get Saiyan Akamaru. Shino, you grab Sasuke. Hinata, Kiba, Shino, grab onto me, he told teammate. And you, focusing his attention on the Odo team, get out of here before I do that again. The Odo team obliged and left with Dosu. Teammate touched Naruto's shoulders, Hinata not trying to faint while doing so. They felt a pull and were nauseous for several seconds. Yeah, that'll happen on your first few rides, said Naruto. Teammate looked up and their eyes grew wide. They were in front of the door that led them inside the tower. They picked up Team 7 and Akamaru and walked inside the giant tower. When they got inside, they realized they were in a room. They looked around and saw nothing. I think we should open the scroll, said Naruto. He and Team 8 unsealed their and Team 7 scroll. They started smoking as soon as they opened it. It's a summoning scroll. Throw it away, yelled Naruto. The teams threw all scrolls that landed in an X a few feet from them. When the smoke dispersed, the Jonin saw Kurenai, Kakashi, and Irika. The Jonin and Chunin looked at each other and then at their students. While all 7 of you at once? That's funny, chuckled Kakashi. It was then he realized his entire team was unconscious. What happened to them? He asked. Naruto spoke up first. I heard the Banshee scream, and when I found Team 7, they were battling Orochimaru. Sai and Sakura were unconscious when I got there, and as soon as I dispelled his snake summon with my swords. I fought him for a few minutes until he dashed. Naruto looked over to teammate, deciding what to say. Punched me with a fire-infused fist. Kiba was the next one to speak up. Me and Akamaru had picked up on the fight, and Hinata looked for it and saw Naruto and Orochimaru. We waited for the best time to fight, and we decided to fight after Naruto was hit by Orochimaru. I was able to hit him with Kitsuga because Shino kept him down with his bugs. When we got there, Naruto passed out shortly after, and that is when things went downhill. We tried to hit him again, but he quickly dispatched me and Shino. He extended his neck and bit both Hinata and Sasuke, and they have these weird marks on their necks now. What? yelled Naruto, Kurenai, Kakashi, and Irika. We need to get them medical attention, yelled Kurenai. The best I can do is seal the marks, but I don't know how long it will take for them to wake up from after it. It's up to Hinata, and since Sasuke is unconscious, the person who will decide for them is Kakashi, said Naruto, still enraged by the news. He looked at Hinata, who had her hand on her neck. How long do you think it will take? She asked Naruto. Naruto sighed. 1 to 2 days is my best guess. Hinata looked her crush straight in the eyes and nodded. I'll do it. Naruto smiled softly and then looked at Kakashi, who nodded. All right, I'm going to need a room to set up the seal. Kurenai took Hinata away along with Kakashi and Sasuke. Irika took the rest of Team 7 to their room, leaving only Kiba, Shino, and Naruto. So, Naruto-san, I've noticed that you always act a certain way around Hinata. Almost protectively. Why is that? Asked Shino. Naruto stiffened and hesitated for a moment. He then relaxed and let out a shaky breath. All right, since you guys are her teammates, you deserve to know. It was nearly 7 years ago. It was the QB festival and I was walking home after buying a fox mask. I guess that several people were drunk, and seeing me in the mask reminded them of the fox. They chased me for several minutes until I ran down an alley. I was usually able to climb pipes to get away, but not this time. Unfortunately, they got to me first. They started beating me and I went unconscious. When I woke up, I awakened 2 of my bloodlines that killed all of them. I laid there for several moments, pondering my existence. I felt good about killing them. Hell, I almost went insane. Until she found me. A girl came down the alley and saw me. She ran back to the light and I closed my eyes. Then I heard her running back. I opened my eyes and saw her with water and a box. She helped me drink the water until she was called back. I wanted to know her name but couldn't ask. I found out later by the Hokage that the girl who had shown me kindness and indirectly saved me from losing my sanity was Hyuga Hinata, said Naruto, now teary-eyed. So you see, I vowed to always protect her from any harm who comes her way. Kiba and Shino were wide-eyed. Kiba was pondering everything he knew now about the Uzumaki. It was then a question came to his mind. Do you love her? He asked with a barely noticeable smile on his face that nobody saw. Naruto, caught off guard by the question, stammered and looked away, trying to hide the growing blush on his face. What make you think that? Kiba smiled. Because nobody can protect someone without asking for anything back without truly loving them. Naruto looked at Kiba wide-eyed. Kiba's smile turned big. Go get her, man. Tell her soon. I'll be fine. There's someone out there for me. Naruto smiled and said, yeah, maybe I will tell her soon. Probably after the exams. Shino and Kiba left the room, leaving Naruto to his thoughts. Hyuga Hinata, I truly do love you. I'll remove that seal on your head, and I'll get rid of that damned curse mark that Orochimaru gave you. Sealing room. All right, Hinata-chan, this is probably gonna hurt a lot, said Naruto. He had already done Sasuke, but since he was unconscious, there wasn't a lot of commotion. Oh, okay, Naruto-kun, said Hinata. Naruto made the necessary hand signs and placed his hand on the cursed seal. Fuin, he said. Seal spread all over Hinata, making her scream in pain. Behind her, Naruto, Kakashi, and Kurenai all cringed. The seals crawled up Hinata's body and wrapped around the cursed seal in a circle. Hinata went unconscious, but before she hit the ground, was caught and picked bridal style by Naruto. He looked at Kakashi, who had Sasuke slung over his shoulder. I'll take her to her room, he said. Kakashi and Kurenai nodded, but the latter was still reluctant. Naruto headed out of the room towards where the rest of Team 8 was. Naruto walked through the hallways with Hinata in his arms. He looked down at Hinata and smiled. Who would have thought it would take a speech from Kiba for me to realize that I really love you, he thought. As he neared her team's room, he bumped shoulders with a boy from another Konoha team. Naruto noticed this and apologized. Sorry about that, he said, scratching the back of his neck. He turned around and looked at the boy and his 2 teammates. The boy was obviously a Hyuga from the white eyes. He wore his headband around his forehead and had a khaki shirt, brown pants, bandages around his arms, and blue ninja sandals. His female teammate had a pink Chinese-style tank top, green pants, 2 buns, blue ninja sandals, and wore her headband around her forehead. His male teammate wore a green spandex suit, had a bowl cut, orange leg warmer, blue ninja sandals, and he wore his headband around his waist. The Hyuga glared at Naruto and said, "Why do you have her in your arms?" Naruto just raised one eyebrow and responded, "I'm getting her back to her team. She needed medical attention, and I was the best one available because it involved Fuinjutsu. Naruto explained. If you'll excuse me, Hyuga-san, I need to get her to her room so she can be ready for when this portion ends. The Hyuga just glared at Naruto's retreating figure and then looked at his teammates. Tintin, Lee, let's go to our room. 5 hours later, Naruto was currently walking around the tower. It was nighttime, and he couldn't sleep. He rubbed the back of his neck. Damn, there's nothing to do here, and I can't sleep, he thought. Naruto wandered around, checking out every room. He ended up at the cafeteria where he saw the Nibi Jinchuriki drinking tea. They stared at each other for several seconds before Naruto spoke up. And I? He asked. The girl nodded. Q? Name's Niujido, she said. Uzumaki Naruto, responded Naruto. I have a question. The Kumo Jinchuriki raised her eyebrow but nodded nonetheless. Naruto, seeing this, asked, what do you think is wrong with the Ichibi Jinchuriki? Yujido took a sip of her tea and then replied, so you noticed him too, huh? Naruto chuckled. Who wouldn't? He said, making Yujido laugh. Naruto suddenly got a serious look on his face. I'm going to talk with him, he said. I need to know what happened to him that made him turn so sadistic and insane. Yujido raised her eyebrow. I wish you luck, but I don't expect that to work until the QB turns good, she said, taking a sip of her tea. Naruto smirked. Well, actually, he said. Yuji had choked on her drink. You mean, cough? You're working, cough, with it? She asked, bewildered. From what Matatabi had told her, the QB wanted nothing to do with people. She couldn't believe that Naruto was able to work with it. She then smiled. Well, I guess you'll be able to fix Gaara, she said. Naruto nodded and walked out of the cafeteria. That boy, if he can work with QB, the exams are gonna be harder than I thought Yujido. Naruto closed his eyes attempting to sense Gaara. After about 30 seconds, he was able to find him at the roof of the table. Jumping out of a window, he climbed to the top of the tower. He looked across the roof, and on his opposite side, he saw Gaara sitting with his legs crossed with sand swirling around him. Gaara, noticing Naruto, turned his head to his fellow redhead slowly, eyes narrowed. What do you want, he said. Why are you like this? Naruto asked. Why are you so insane? Gaara looked at Naruto with a bored look on his face. My life was insane. I merely went along with the ride. Naruto now narrowed his eyes. So was mine. I know the pain of loneliness, Gaara. At this, the Suna Genin's eyes widened. This boy, he wasn't sure, but now he knew he was just like him. Why do you protect people? He said, eyes narrowing again. Naruto looked at him with a sad look on his face. I don't pretend to know your life, but I'm sure up until 7 years ago, it was very similar to mine. I never had anyone who loved me. Sure, there were 3 people, but never unconditional love. I would be beaten every weekend, and then after healing would get shipped on my way. Until I was 5, I was beaten so badly that I lost it. I killed all who beat me. It felt good, causing them the same pain they caused me. I almost went insane, but she helped me. She showed me there were kind people in this cruel world. That's why I protect Gaara. It's love, Gaara. Gaara's eyes widened. It's love, Gaara. The same words his uncle used the night he tried to kill him. He looked at Naruto, who now had wide eyes. He frowned until he turned around. His eyes widened even further. Around him the sand had formed into his mother, her hands above where he had just been sitting. He started to tear up and faced Naruto. Naruto smiled at Gaara and walked up to him. Gaara tensed at Naruto's approaching figure, but didn't try anything. What happened next sent into a fit of wailing. Naruto had stopped in front of the Suna Jinchuriki and hugged him. Naruto turned around and walked down the tower, bowing before he left. Gaara just stood there, crying and dumbfounded. He wiped away the tears and looked at his mother. He looked down at his hands, remembering the bloodshed they had caused. Uzumaki Naruto, how can I be more like you? He thought to himself. End of second exam. All 8 teams that passed the second round were gathered in a giant room. There were balconies on either side of the arena, most likely for other participants to watch from. At the very front of the arena was a giant statue of 2 arms making the ram hand sign. In front of the statue were all the senseis of the present genin, the proctors, and the Hokage. Naruto was standing in between Team 7 and Team 8, being more of a buffer for Sasuke. He was looking straight ahead until someone caught his attention. Thank you, said Hinata. When she saw Naruto look at her, it just made her already present blush intensify. Thank you F for sealing to the M mark. Oh yeah, no problem. It's the least I could do. Naruto responded. Now Hinata was confused. For what? She asked, tilting her head to her head with a curious look on her face. Seeing this, Naruto turned his head, trying to hide his blush. You'll find out soon, Hinata, said Kiba. Naruto turned his head so fast it almost gave him whiplash. Oh, Kiba, he exclaimed. What? Asked the Inuzuka. Naruto just threw his arms into the air and turned away. The Hokage coughed, getting everyone's attention. Now that you are all listening, I can explain. The third exam will be starting soon. But before I explain how it will work, let me make one thing perfectly clear. It is the purpose of the Chunin exams, said the Hokage. Now everyone was confused. What purpose? During times of peace, the Chunin exams are a substitute for war. It is a chance to show other villages how strong one's ninja are. These will be life and death battles, because one's strength comes out when faced with death. Now, I've said all I've wanted to about the purpose. Now on to the third exam, said the Hokage. If I could, Lord Hokage, said Hate. The Hokage nodded and turned around. To those of you who don't know me, my name is Gecko Hate. I will be the proctor of the next exam. But before we do that, I need you all to do something for me. There will be preliminaries due to the amount of contestants, and how you do in these will determine if you make it to the finals. There will be one-on-one matches. The winner moving on to the finals, Hate explained. Preliminaries? Everyone thought. What do you mean? Asked an annoyed Shikamaru. He just wanted to go home. Since there are many of you here, we need to slim down the numbers. There will be important figures at the finals, and it will take too long if we do 25 one-on-one matches. So instead we will be doing that here. Behind me are screens that will be showing the contestants' names. If it lands on you, the other name is who you'll be up against. Now no more complaining, because the exams start now. All the Chunin went up to the balconies with their respective senseis. Naruto went to stand next to Hinata, blocking Sasuke's view of her again, making him growl. Hinata breathed a sigh of relief. Thank you. He's been looking with them more. I intend today, she said quietly to Naruto. Yeah, no problem, like I said earlier. It's the least I could do, replied Naruto. As soon as the two finished their conversation, the screen started swapping through names faster than the Chunin could see. The screen started to slow down, and the Chunin could tell the names now. It slowed down even more, and the Chunin became anxious. Hate was facing the board and saw the names that it stopped on. He faced the Chunin and announced the names. The first match will be Karui versus Dosu, yelled Hate. Dosu went down to the middle of the arena, but before the red-haired Kimokunoichi could move, the white-haired one spoke up. Don't lose, Karui. If you do, B-sama might give up on you. And then Raikage-sama will give up on you. And then you'll become weak and feeble, and then dash. Shut up, yelled Karui. Her worrying brother dropped his head as she jumped off the balcony. She walked up to the middle and pulled out her sword. It was a standard katana used by most shinobi who trained with swords. Hate looked at both contestants. Are both of you ready? He asked. He saw both contestants nod and he lifted his arm. Hajime, he said, starting the fight. Quickly, Dosa brought up his arms and fired sound waves at Karui. Attempting to get closer to her opponent, Karui dodged from left to right, getting closer inch by inch. Dosu, noticing this, aimed his gauntlet at the floor. Karui immediately dashed at the Odo Nane, sword ready to strike. However, she never made it. As soon as Dosa fired his sound waves into the floor, it created a ripple effect across it, ripping rocks out of the ground and making Karui lose her balance and be thrown into the wall. Dosa got up and faced his opponent, who was currently struggling to get up. Again, he aimed his gauntlet at her, making her eyes widened. Everyone saw the shockwave hit her, but before they could worry, she poofed out of existence, replaced by a rock. Dosa heard footsteps run up behind him, but before he could do anything, he heard her call out her attack. Humoryu Dama Shijiri, she cried, swinging her katana and cutting off Dosa's arm. Oh yeah, you Yorjich, yelled the Odo Chunin. Winner, Karui, said Hate. Medics, Kin and Zaka cringed as they heard Dosa's screams of agony. They looked at Orochimaru disguised as an Odo Jounin and saw a passive look on his face. They then looked at one another with a, does he even care? Look. The screen started to scroll through names again, and the Chunin tensed. The screen again started to slow down as it landed on the next two names. Second match will be between Abumi Zaku and Aburame Shino. Shino and Zaku walked down to the arena, meeting in the middle. Hate, realizing the two didn't have anything to say, began the match. Hajime. The two stood there not moving for several seconds. If you fight me, you will be beaten so badly you won't be able to continue your shinobi career. Walk away while you still can, said Shino stoically. Zaku just glared at the bug user. Tough guy, are we? Well, whatever, cause I'm betting I'll still be able to beat you with much more fight left in me. Zaku lunged at Shino, palm open, and swung his arm to the right side of Shino's head. Shino blocked the blow, but was suddenly on alarm as he saw his palm. Zenkaha, yelled Zaku. Shino was thrown away and landed hard on the floor. Hinata and Kiba were astounded. Shino was one of the best shinobi of their generation, just behind Sasuke, and he was being thrown around so easily. Shino groaned as he got back on his feet. Sasuke narrowed his eyes. Something didn't seem right. What the? He exclaimed as he saw hundreds of bugs come out of the Chunin's skin. Bugs. They're coming out of his skin. He then turned around as he heard a bunch of scurrying coming from behind him. Shid, he thought. Do you like my friends? They're the Kakachu of my clan. Parasitic insects devour the chakra of their prey. So if you want to be liked, you'd better surrender. Your arms will not help you, the Aburame explained. Grr. Growled Zaku. I won't give up. Who do you think I am? I'll show you my true power, yelled Zaku as he stuck out both arms. Take this, he yelled, releasing chakra from his arms. Before Shino could say anything, Zaku's arms blew up from the chakra and he was left without any arms. What the hell? Yelled Kiba as everyone noticed the Kakachu coming out of Zaki's arms. Shino appeared behind Zaku as he was still distracted by the immense pain. Just now, while I was giving you my helpful advice, I had Kakachu make their way through the tunnels you blast your wind from. They made their way to key points in your body, messing with your chakra, Shino said. He whipped the Oto Genin across the face, knocking him out cold. Winner, Aburame Shino, said Hate. Shino walked up to the balcony where he was congratulated by his team. The screen landed on two names, and the people who weren't picked side. Third match, Kankuro versus Omoi, yelled Hate. Kankuro and the white-haired Kumo boy known as Omoi walked down to the center of the arena. Hate looked at both of them and nodded. Hajime. Immediately, Kankuro threw his giant package to the side and Omoi rushed him. The latter took out his sword and struck Kankuro in the gut. He looked up to Kankuro's face to see it peeling off. A pea puppet? He asked. He then looked behind him as he saw what the giant package was unraveling around. The bandages dropped and he saw Kankuro with chakra wires attached to his finger. Looking back at the puppet, he saw 6 arms come out of its side and wrap them around him. The puppet tightened its grip, breaking Omoi's arms. Oh, hey, yours each, yelled the Kumonin. Winner, Kankuro. Hate said, ending the match before it could result in something worse. All of the matches have ended in major arm injuries, thought Hinata. Before she could think any further, she felt 2 giant killer intents. She faced the board and saw the 2 names that appeared. Fourth match, Haruno Sakura versus Yamanaka Ino, said Hate. /N. Not doing this. Everyone knows it ends in a draw, so writing it would be, as Shikamaru says, troublesome. Neither contestant can continue. In the result of a draw, no one wins, said Hate. Man, what a cat fight. And I hate cats, said Kiba, Naruto nodding next to him. They looked up and saw the next match. Fifth match, Inuzuka Kiba and Ni Yujido, said Hate. Man, why do I have to fight a girl, said Kiba downtrodden. She likes cats, said Naruto. It is on, yelled Kiba marching towards the center of the arena, with everyone else sweat dropping at his antics. Kiba glared at Yujito who had a passive face. Hajime, yelled Hate. Kiba threw a soldier pill at Akamaru, whose fur instantly turned red. Making a hand sign, smoke enveloped the duo, and when it cleared it revealed 2 beasts like Kiba. Yujito narrowed her eyes. So there's 2 of you now, big deal, she said. Kiba growled at the Jinchuriki. It's gonna be a big deal when you'll be in intensive care. Gutsuga, he yelled. 2 drills came at Yujito faster than anything else she had seen. She was pounded into the ground because of the blow, but was quickly able to get back up. Kiba and Akamaru were on the other side of the arena, watching her. She made several hand signs, ending on the tiger. Katan, flaming hairball, she yelled as 7 balls made from blue flames were fired at Kiba. Kiba's eyes widened. Blue fire. The hell? He thought. But he didn't have a minute to spare. Suga, he called, becoming a drill once again and circling Akamaru. The impact created heavy smoke. Yujito tried to find Kiba, but to her surprise he came out, still drilling at her. She put her arms in an X formation, just barely able to block it. Kiba landed not too far away with Akamaru. I'm actually having fun, said Yujito. Kiba smirked. Me too. They're made for each other, said Naruto and Shikamaru simultaneously. How would you know anything about love dope? Asked Sasuke. Behind him, Kakashi was finding it hard not to strangle the life out of the boy then and there. It's time to end this, said Yujito. Next hit wins? Asked Kiba. Of course, purred Yujito, making a barely noticeable tint of pink come across Kiba's face. All right, he yelled as he threw down a smoke bomb enveloping the 3 of them. What happened? Asked Choji. The Chunin watched as the smoke cleared and saw Yujito pointing her nails at Akamaru. Instead, they were razor sharp, with Kiba pointing a kunai with a cut-in-half blade pointed at her neck. Kiba went wide-eyed. How? He asked. Like the Uzumaki said, I like cats, she explained. Now if you want your furry friend dash, I give up. Kiba finished putting the broken kunai down. I'm Naruto risking Akamaru's life for a chance at Chunin. There's always next time. Yujito smiled as she retracted her claws and gave Akamaru to Kiba. Winner. Ni Yujito from Kumo, announced Hate. Kiba watched Yujito's back as she walked back to the balcony. I think I'm in love, he thought, walking back to his team. Jiga J-job, K Kiba, said Hinata. She handed him a small wooden box, Kiba already knowing what was in it. Yeah, good job, Kiba. And from what I saw at the very end, from the way you were looking at her, it seems you got the hots for her, said Naruto, smirking at Kiba. Kiba turned to growl at Naruto. Say one more thing, and Naruto, I swear I will tell your secret to everyone here, he said. That shut Naruto up nice and quick. Sixth match, Temari versus Higurashi Tenten, said Hate, Hajime. Yeah, go Tenten, yelled Lee from the stands. So, another one of those Sunajinin. This should be interesting, said Neji. Bang, I am possible, cried Lee. She shut her down that quickly, exclaimed Neji. Across the floor were dozens of weapons that Tenten had expertly thrown at Temari, except one thing was wrong. Tenten was folded over Temari's fan, beaten and bloody. This was really troublesome, said Temari. Shikamaru sneezed. Winner, Temari, called Hate. Temari threw Tenten across the floor, but before she could land on the weapons, she was caught by Lee. What's wrong with you? That's not how you treat a worthy opponent, yelled Lee. Lee, that's enough, yelled Guy from the stands. Lee growled at Temari, but obeyed his sensei and went back to the stands. The screen started blurring through names again. Damn, said Shikamaru. Seventh match, Nara Shikamaru versus Tsuchikin, said Hate. The two genin met in the middle, Shikamaru seeming out of it. I can't believe I have to fight a girl, said the lazy Nara. Kin scowled at him and said, Fine, I guess I'll just have to wipe the floor with you then. Ready? Hajime, exclaimed Hate. Go Shikamaru, yelled Shoji. Kageme no jutsu, said Shikamaru. So that's all you got, huh? Well, you'll have to do better than that, said Kin. She threw Sanbon at Nara, who dodged them, and they hit the opposite wall. The bells rung, causing Shikamaru to turn around. Bells? What a tired old trick. Let me guess, you'll be throwing your Sanbon in two groups, with and without bells, to mislead me into thinking I'm safe, until the silent ones get me, right? He asked. Chatty are we? Asked Kin as she drew her arm back. The bells rung again, catching Shikamaru off guard. Behind me, he exclaimed. It was then he realized his mistake. Shit. A threat. She's pulling the strings to mock me. Too late, yelled Kin. She threw Sanbon at Shikamaru, these ones hitting him. Once I was able to dodge your shadow, it was all dash she was about to say. How she yelled. Your shadow is nowhere in sight. Still don't get it? Think about it. Strings that small and high up wouldn't be able to create shadows. You fell right into my trap, explained Shikamaru, getting up. Now to end it. He got a kunai from his pouch, making Kin do the same. Throwing it at the same time, Shikamaru dodged the kunai harmlessly, but Kin hit her head on the wall, knocking her out. Winner, Nara Shikamaru, said Hate. Ya Shikamaru, yelled Shoji from the balcony. As Shikamaru went up to the stands, the next match was announced. Eighth match, Akamichi Choji versus Sai, said Choji. A bribe of all you can eat, and 2 minutes later Choji was in the center of the arena. Hate looked at the contestants. Hajime. Choji jumped back from Sai, who had stayed still. Like no jutsu, he yelled. Choji inflated like a balloon and tucked his head and limbs inside of his body and began to roll. Instead of being incredibly slow, Sai was caught off guard when it was faster than he expected. But he was faster. Sai would simply dodge the rolling sphere of mass that was his opponent. This went on for about 5 minutes until Choji had gotten tired. When he went back to his original state, Sai had held his sword to his neck. Winner, Sai, said Hate. Choji had glumly walked back to his team, where he was greeted by a sympathetic congratulations from his entire team, including Ino, who had regained consciousness during his fight along with Sakura. The screen started going through names again, and there were only 3 matches left, and everyone knew these would be the best ones yet. The names that it landed on made everyone go speechless. Ninth match, Uzumaki Naruto versus Uchiha Sasuke, said Germa. The arena went quiet. Never in a million years had anyone from Konoha thought this would be the matchup. However, that silence didn't last. Everyone soon heard heavy footsteps walking down the look to the sound and saw Naruto face down. Even as he reached the middle, he didn't pick up his head. Sasuke jumped off the balcony and walked towards Naruto. He smirked as he saw the redhead's face not looking at him. Scared to meet my eyes? Asked Sasuke as he activated the Sharingan. Finally activated those damn eyes, huh? Naruto replied. He picked up his head with a manic smile and the Ketsuryugen activated. The smile sent shivers down everyone's spine. Hate. Start the match. This bastard's gonna pay for what he said about my family, said Naruto. Hate nodded. Cough, Hajime. Sasuke jumped back, keeping his eyes on the Uzumaki. He grit his teeth. He would obviously have to make the first move, something he really did not want to do. He pulled out a kunai and rushed Naruto. Naruto stood there not moving. Sasuke went for the attack, and as he was about to connect, Naruto did something he didn't think he would do. He caught the kunai in between his fingers and grabbed Sasuke's hand. Wrong move, Uchiha, Naruto said. Blood started to pour out of Naruto's eyes, and the blood from his hand started to levitate. Sasuke's eyes widened as the blood turned into sharp needles. At the last second, he was able to get free of Naruto's grasp and dodge the blood symbon. He looked into Naruto, emotionless eyes. He knew those eyes. That man had those eyes. How dare you? How dare you mock me with those eyes? He yelled. He rushed through hand signs and took a deep breath. Katan, Gokakyu no Jutsu, he exclaimed. A giant raging ball of fire flew at Naruto. The boy in question just raised his eyebrow. The ball impacted him, making everyone else speechless. When the smoke died down, they saw a wall of blood protecting Naruto from the blast. Up in the stands, Hinata saw the blood, making hers run cold. He began to shiver and held her right hand to her left arm. A few feet from her, Kakashi saw this gesture and frowned. He knew how her family treated her. Naruto had told him during the Nami mission. Could that have led to a life of fear of blood? He decided to put it off for later and turned back to the match. Sasuke looked shocked at the wall of blood. How? How dare you have this? It should be mine. And Uchiha's, he screamed. He sped through hand signs that only a few people recognized, Kakashi especially. He held his left arm with his right hand, where lightning began to crackle. He looked at Naruto with a crazed look on his face. It's funny you should family dope. 'Cause you're about to meet your failure of one right now, he yelled. Chidori. He ran at the blood wall, and when he was about 15 feet away, he stuck his hand out. He plunged through the blood wall, and an explosion was made. Clang rang all throughout the arena. When the smoke was cleared, everyone stood there in awe. There Naruto was, holding a bone, with the blade of the Kubikura Bocho stuck into the floor. Sasuke was on the other side of the giant sword, fist smashed into it, no longer enveloped in lightning. Uchiha, I've told you to never speak about my family, exclaimed Naruto. Everyone saw as his fist became enveloped in a black fire and wind, causing it to fit his hand like a glove. He thrust it around the sword and hit Sasuke in the gut. You are RG screamed the Uchiha in pain as he was sent across the arena into the wall. Hate went over to check on him and saw that he was knocked out. He turned to Naruto and held out his arm. Winner, Uzumaki Naruto, he announced. The arena was quiet. No one dared to make a sound. The blade returned to blood, and the bone fell to the ground and crumbled away. Naruto sealed away all the blood for later usage and put away his scroll. He walked back up to the balcony without saying a word. He passed the Suna team, who were dead silent, and passed Team 9. He stopped when he got to Team 8, noticing Hinata was holding something out to him. And Naruto-kun, this is for Yu, she said, holding out a duplicate of the box she gave to Kiba. Naruto, realizing this was the healing ointment she had given him the last 2 times, took it and thanked her. But he had one more thing to say before he passed her. It worked well the last 2 times, he whispered to her. This made her already present blush even darker, and she was trying hard not to faint. Naruto went to stand in between Kiba and Kakashi, the latter having moved to the guardrail after noticing what jutsu Sasuke was using. Kakashi looked at his little brother and I smiled. Good job, he said, giving him an eye smile. They looked back at the screen and saw it blurring through names again. It started slowing down. Slower, slower, stop. The names that it stopped on surprised everyone. But it terrified one and made the other have a gleeful smile on their face. 10th match, Hyuga Neji versus Hyuga Hinata, said Hate. The 2 Hyugas meet in the middle, Neji scowling at Hinata. I never dreamed we'd find ourselves fighting each other, Hinata-sama, he said, spitting out the last part. And Neji and Nizan, stuttered Hinata. Hate looked at the 2 Hajime, he yelled. Neither Hyuga moved. Before we begin, started Neji, there's something you should know. You are not cut out to be a shinobi. Forfeit, he growled. Hinata began to tear up. You're sweet, you want to make peace, and you're not a leader, he said. That's why your father sent you to the branch family. You're a disappointment. Hinata looked down at the floor. Look at you, no self-confidence. Your inferiority complex is the biggest I've ever seen. You'd be more comfortable staying a genin. But to compete in the Chunin exams, you must enter as an entire squad. But you couldn't bear to let down your teammates. The truth is, your participation has been reluctant from the very beginning. And no, I want T to CH change dash, said Hinata. You can't change. Once a failure, always a failure, interrupted Neji. Naruto was getting more rage-filled by the second. It was taking the combined forces of Guy and Kakashi to hold him down. That didn't mean that they weren't having trouble. He had already started to draw on some of the Kyuubi's chakra, even while the fox was trying to hold back. It's because of our unchanging nature that different people are born. Those who are elites, and those who are failures. It doesn't matter who you are or where you come from. It's unchangeable, snarled Neji as he activated his Byakugan. Hinata's tears began to fall. Shut up, said a dark voice. Neji turned to the voice. He saw Naruto on the ground, with a struggling Kakashi, Guy, and now Kurenai holding him back from ripping out his throat. She can change. Anyone can change. You can't decide things for other people. So shut the fuck up. Hinata can change, he said, now seeping out small amounts of red chakra. Naruto, thought Hinata. Come on, Hinata. Show him what you're made of, said Naruto. Naruto, thank you, thought Hinata. She now had a determined look on her face, all her fear. Neji looked back at his cousin, seeing the determination in her eyes. So, you're not going to forfeit. Then I won't be responsible for what happens here, he said. Hinata activated her Byakugan and got into the Jukin stance. Neji got into the same stance, and the Hyugas ran at each other. Hinata went for the first blow, which was easily blocked by Neji, who went for a strike to her gut. Hinata weaved her way out of the blow with ease, looking just like Yujido. The two went at it like this for several minutes until Hinata went for Neji's shoulder. If she hits me there, thought Neji. He went for the most vital spot on the body. Everybody saw Hinata spit out blood, landing on the floor. She was still conscious, a good sign. She pulled her arm back and went for another blow to his shoulder. Neji caught her arm and poked her elbow. Let me show you, Hinata-sama, why you can't hurt me, he said, grabbing her sleeve about to pull it up. Hinata's eyes widened. She tried to break free of his grip, but that only made him hold tighter. He rolled up her sleeve, but what he saw made everyone freeze. All across her arm her red spots where he had blocked her chakra, but that wasn't it. All across her arm were small cuts, obviously made intentionally. Up in the balcony, Kakashi looked down at Naruto. He wasn't moving. He couldn't imagine what he felt. He told him he had sworn to protect Hinata. Naruto probably felt as if he failed right now. Kurama was wide-eyed and speechless. She was just like his kid, except she never stopped hurting herself. Hiba and Shino were wide-eyed in horror. How had they never noticed? Naruto was the worst of all. He began to hyperventilate. Why? Why couldn't he ever protect the ones that meant the most to him? He failed. He began to radiate more red chakra. Hiba, Shino, Shikamaru, and Asuma ran over to hold him down. Shino with his bugs, Hiba and Akamaru in their beast form, Shikamaru holding him with his shadow, and Asuma pushing down with wind. And they were still struggling. The other Genin looked at the struggling shinobi. This was all to hold down one Genin? Hinata looked at her arm. She looked at Neji, who had a disgusted look on his face. He threw her aside. Pathetic, he said. Proctor, this match is over dash. No. Don't end it, screamed Naruto. Neji looked at Hinata, who was getting up from the floor. So you still want to fight? Well, don't blame me if I kill you, he said, getting into a stance. Hinata's eyes widened in fear at the stance. Hack Rokuji and show. Neji yelled. 2 palms, 4 palms, 8 palms, 16 palms, 32 palms, 64 palms. Neji yelled. Hinata held the place where her heart was in pain. Everyone knew where all those strikes were aimed. And seeing how Naruto reacted to just the taunts, it scared them how he would react to this. Hinata stumbled 2 steps back, 4, then landed on her knees. She began to hyperventilate heavily. Neji walked up to her. Nobody can change, remember that. If you live to remember it, he said as he kicked her in the chin, sending her to the floor several feet back. Medics, screamed Hade in panic. He looked towards Naruto, who had a blank look on his face. What Neji did was the last straw for Naruto. He created a shockwave of red chakra that sent everyone holding him flying, and he disappeared in a red flash. Next thing everyone knew, there was a crash on the stadium wall. They saw a red and yellow glow, the red looking like a fox, and the yellow coming off the fox and creating an X shape on the wall. When the dust cleared, everyone saw Naruto with a red chakra surrounding him, with golden chakra chains holding Neji to the wall. Give me one good reason that I shouldn't rip out your balls and your throat, Naruto said in a demonic voice. Neji couldn't say anything, so he just glared at the Uzumaki. Naruto pulled his arm back and a swirling purple chakra began to form. "Naruto!" yelled the Hokage. Naruto stopped what he was doing. He looked at Naruto with cold, sad, and rage-filled eyes. He dispelled his jutsu and dropped Neji. He walked over to where Hinata was laying down with the medics. He looked down at the medics with a passive face, but tears in his eyes. "Will she survive?" he asked in a choked voice. The medic looked at the concerned boy. "It's hard to say, but the only thing keeping her stable right now is a separate chakra," the medic replied. "Why you mean? The curse mark?" Naruto asked in horror. The medic raised his eyebrow, obviously wondering how he knew. Maybe he was there when it happened, but he nodded. Naruto went quiet and clenched his fists. The only thing keeping Hinata alive was the damn thing he'd sworn to get rid of along with the caged bird seal, and he didn't even know how long she had. He watched as the medics picked her up and carried her out of the arena. Naruto walked slowly up the stairs and down the balcony. He had an aura around him that made even Gaara keep quiet. Sakura looked at the aura and her eyes widened in fear. Naruto had an orange-red aura around him that was shaped in 9 fox-like tails. Monst. She began, but was quickly shut up by Kakashi's glare at the word she was about to use. The shinobi heard the screen buzzing through names again. They looked at the names, not that they needed to. "Final match, Gaara versus Rock Lee," said Hate. Gaara-san Sunshine and the ever-eccentric Lee did a backflip to shoulder roll off the balcony. "Facing such a youthful opponent makes me very happy," screamed the mini-me of Guy. "Humph," grunted Gaara. Hate smirked at Lee. "Contest ready?" "Hajime." Lee rushed at Gaara as he called out his attack. Konoha Senpu. The blow never connected as sand blocked Lee's kick before it could even get near Gaara. The sand tripped Lee up and sent him tumbling. "Ack." Lee grunted. Lee got up, attempting to hit the sand again, but it blocked his attack. He went behind to kick, and it was blocked. Lee retreated, already exhausted from his offense. "He blocked all my attacks, without even moving a muscle," thought Lee. Again, he went for a punch, but it was unsurprisingly blocked by the sand. Finally, Gaara made his move. The sand went for Lee's legs, only for him to backflip off of it onto the giant statue. The two shinobi looked at each other. Lee looked at his sensei, who had a smile on his face. "Lee, take them off." Guy yelled with a thumbs up. "But Guy Sensei, you said to only take them off when protecting those precious to me." Lee responded, saluting to his sensei. "It's okay. I'll allow it." Guy yelled back. "Really? Really?" Lee exclaimed. The Chunin sat down and removed his orange leg warmers. The other shinobi saw weights attached to his legs. Lee took them off with a relieved smile on his face. Gaara looked cautiously at the green-clad ninja. Lee stood up and dropped the weights. "YSH. Now I can move freely," he yelled. "You really think you'll be able to keep up with Gaara's sand just by dropping a couple of pounds of weights?" thought Temari. Boom. Craters were made as the weights hit the floor. Before anyone knew it, Lee was behind Gaara, throwing a right hook that was just barely blocked, and he disappeared again. He repeatedly hit the sand, then disappeared, confusing it. He appeared on top of Gaara, springing, and then axe-kicked the Suna Chunin. "Well, looks like I finally hit you," said Lee as he slid back. Gaara glared back at the Konoha Chunin. "Is that all you have?" Lee asked, attempting to aggravate the Suna Chunin into attacking. "His defense is amazing. Even if I was able to hit him, my only shot to beat him is." He looked at his sensei, who gave him the same look with a nod. The lotus. Lee began to unwrap the bandages around his arms, and he began to run circles around Gaara, creating a cloud of dust. Gaara stared wordlessly at the many after-images that Lee was creating. "Come on, hurry up," he said. No sooner had he said that than he was kicked in the chin and sent into the air by Lee. He was kicked several more times, the sand being useless to Lee's relentless attacks. Lee wrapped the bandages around Gaara, with Gaara's head being higher than Lee. The Chunin began to rush towards the ground at immense speeds, and as they were about to hit the floor, Lee jumped away at the last second, leaving Gaara to crash into it. Everyone on the balcony stared at Gaara's corpse, which stayed motionless on the floor. Suddenly, the body began to crumble, revealing it to be a sand clone. Everyone's eyes widened, and Lee felt a shiver go down his spine as he felt Gaara's presence behind him. Before he could react, Gaara sent a wave of sand into Lee, throwing him into the wall, leaving an imprint of the Chunin. Gaara sent another wave of sand that Lee was just barely able to dodge. Lee rushed towards Gaara, dodging the different spears of sand as he did so. Guy looked down at his student pensively, realizing Lee's plan. Lee put his arms in an X formation, and his skin began to darken in color. "Shaman, release," yelled Lee. Veins began to become visible on his forehead as blue chakra came off of him. Lee ran at Gaara, who was immediately kicked skyward harder than before, this time from his back. Gaara faced the roof, attempting to cocoon himself with sand, but Lee was too fast for it. He began to attack Gaara with ferocious speed, sending him in many different directions with his attacks. Once again, Lee appeared above Gaara, poised to strike. "This is the end," Lee exclaimed as he punched Gaara in the solar plexus. As Gaara crashed into the same crater, it created a shockwave, making the hole even bigger. He stayed on the ground, nearly unconscious from the blow. Lee fell to the ground, exhausted from opening the gate. Gaara turned his head towards Lee, holding his hand out. Sand began to envelope Lee, but before Gaara could end his career, he remembered something from the past. "That's why I protect Gaara. It's love, Gaara. Uzumaki Naruto, how can I be more like you?" Maybe this was the first step to truly being happy, to be recognized for something good. So Gaara slowly opened his mouth. "Give up. I don't want to have to kill you," he said weakly. The Chunin squad from Suna's eyes widened. Who was this? Gaara would have shown no mercy. Naruto heard the words of his fellow Jinchuriki and smiled. He looked at Yujido, who looked at him and shook her head with a quiet laugh. Lee was already breathing heavily. He knew he wouldn't be able to get free of the sand. Slowly, he turned his head to Hate and nodded. The proctor raised his hand and pointed it to Gaara. "Winner, Gaara," he announced. Gaara let go of Lee, who promptly fell unconscious. Medics rushed over to Lee, while Kankuro and Temari ran down to get their brother. The Ichibi Jinchuriki looked to them apologetically. "Kankuro, Temari, I'm sorry for everything," he said in a choked voice. "It's okay, Gaara. You're our little brother," said Temari. The siblings picked up their brother and carried him to the balcony. All the Chunin who passed the first round were lined up in front of the Hokage. "We will now be choosing numbers to choose who you will be facing in the finals," he announced. Anko came up with a box full of papers as each Chunin came up. 1, said Naruto. 9, said Gaara. 3, said Shikamaru. 2, said Neji. 10, said Yujido. 8, said Kankuro. 6, said Sai. 5, said Karui. 4, said Temari. 7, said Shino. The Hokage nodded. "Very well. The matchups will be Uzumaki Naruto versus Hyuga Neji, Nara Shikamaru versus Temari, Karui versus Sai, Shino versus Kankuro, and Gaara versus Ni Yujido," he said. Naruto glared at Neji, giving off a noticeably large amount of killing intent. "The finals will take place in 1 month at the Konoha Arena. During this month you can choose what to do. However, I consider training," explained Hate. "Now, you are free to go." Naruto had just gotten out of the forest. It's not like a hard time. He was radiating so much killer intent that everything stayed clear of him. He walked towards his designated training ground and began to pound at the training posts. He began to lose control of his chakra, making chakra chains pour out of him, impaling the ground and surrounding trees. He began to create giant winds, and fire chakra began to light everything on fire. He was so enraged that he didn't notice when he had started crying. But he did notice someone walking up to him. No, 2 people. He turned around with his still angry and teared-up face and saw Kakashi and the Hokage looking at him worriedly. The old man walked up to Naruto and hugged the broken boy. Naruto leaned into his surrogate grandfather and cried. He cried his heart away. Kakashi looked at his little brother with tear-filled eyes. The boy had lost so much, and now it was possible he would lose the person he loved most because of family feud. Naruto cried until he fell asleep. The Hokage got up and nodded to Kakashi. The copy ninja picked up the redhead and took him to his apartment and laid him down. Kakashi laid down on his couch, not trusting to leave him by himself. Chapter 11. Naruto awoke with a groan, looking around his room in confusion. Last he remembered was that he had lost control. He let out nearly a lifetime of pent-up anger, and what broke that was the attempted murder of his most precious person. He remembered Gigi and Kakashi Nizan breaking down, and then black. Apparently one of them took him back to his apartment. Naruto shakily got out of his bed, nearly falling over doing so. He opened his door and walked over to his kitchen, needing to lean on the wall so he wouldn't fall over. Apparently wasting all that chakra made him lose knowing how to balance himself. Who would have thought? He opened his cabinet and grabbed his instant ramen. It was then Naruto heard a groan from his living room. What the fuck? He screamed. Kaka and I. Huh. What? Responded Kakashi. "Oh, Naruto, hey. What are you doing in my apartment?" asked Naruto. "I wanted to watch over you, because of, began Kakashi. "Yeah. Kakashi, I'm going to go see her today," Naruto said. Kakashi just nodded at his little brother. "Want some ramen?" asked Naruto. "Sure," said Kakashi, walking over to the table. Naruto served up 2 bowls of instant ramen and sat down with Kakashi. "So what will you be doing this month?" he asked. "Well, Sai has someone who will be teaching him, and Sasuke and Sakura aren't in the finals. Right now they are on reserves until after the Chunin exams like everyone else who didn't pass prelims, responded Kakashi. So you got nothing to do? That sucks, Naruto said, laughing a bit. No, I do. Someone very strong and I will be helping you, Kakashi said. Naruto choked on his food. What? He exclaimed. Hokage-sama has agreed to it. It's fine, replied Kakashi lazily. Okay. What'll you be teaching me? Asked Naruto. Well, you know summoning, the Rasengan, and you know elemental manipulation. Have you tried making a Escort-style Rasengan? Asked Kakashi. Wait, what? Asked Naruto, confused. Was I supposed to? Well, Sensei wanted to add lightning chakra to Rasengan, but was never able to. To fully complete the Rasengan was to add elemental manipulation to it. That's why it's pure chakra, explained Kakashi. Naruto smirked. I think I know what we're gonna do this month. Naruto walked into the hospital looking gloomily at the floor. Walking up at the receptionist, he did his best to stay calm. What room is Hyuga Hinata in? He asked. The receptionist looked at Naruto and glared. Why would you need to see her? Come to kill more people, demon? Naruto lifted his head and suddenly his red hair was being compared to the red, slitted eyes that had appeared. What room is Hinata-chan in? He asked louder as a growl came from his throat. Hyuga Hinata, our room 218, said the receptionist in fear. Naruto's eyes changed back to normal. Thanks. As Naruto walked up to Hinata's room, he saw a doctor with a notepad come out. He rushed over to ask the extent of her injuries. Doc. Hey, he called. The Mednin was one of the ones from the Chunin exams. She smiled at Naruto and nodded, acknowledging him. Is Hinata-chan okay? Naruto asked frantically. The Mednin's smile immediately dropped, scaring Naruto. With a heavy sigh, the Mednin breathed out. Hyuga Hinata sustained near-fatal injuries to her heart. It's a pure miracle that she's alive. As we said yesterday, the secondary chakra is the only thing keeping her alive. She's already had surgery on her heart, and we had to replace hers. Even still, if she doesn't get the best medical attention soon, she will die. The most she has is 3 months, she said sadly. Naruto's heart stopped beating, and he began to tear up. Damn it. Why? Why me? Why is it always fucking me that gets screwed over? If I love someone, I can't have them, he screamed. The doctor's eyes widened. Love? You don't mean Dash. Yeah, I do. It's pretty stupid that a demon like me could love a princess like her, said Naruto, still crying. The doctor looked at Naruto with a serious face. Naruto, right? She asked. Naruto looked up to her and nodded. She has 3 months. She needs the best of the best to survive. The only person who can save her is Tsunade-sama herself. She hasn't been to the village in over a decade, but it's safe to say that she is in High no Kuni. You have 3 months to save Hinata-san. You will find Tsunade-sama and convince her to come back so you can tell Hinata-san how you feel. Understood, she said. Naruto stared at the Mednin with wide eyes. But I have the Chunin exams. I'm against Neji. I'm gonna kill that bastard, he yelled. He then looked down and sighed. I'm sorry, it's just Dash. I understand, said the Mednin, but if you really love her, you will give up your revenge to find Tsunade-sama. It was then Naruto had an idea. I know what to do. But first, I need to get to the roof. Can you take me there, Ms.? He started. My name's Kimiko, responded the Mednin. Ms. Kimiko, can you show me to the roof? Asked Naruto. Kimiko nodded. Come with me. Thank you. So, what exactly are you going to do? Asked Kimiko. This, said Naruto, FUIN, Hiraishin Kage Bunshin Ino Jutsu, yelled Naruto as 500 clones appeared in a red flash. Hiraishin Kage Bunshin, exclaimed Kimiko. Yeah, I'll send these all around High no Kuni, and if they find Tsunade-sama, they'll flare their chakra in a certain way similar to Morse code, explained Naruto. Wow, said Kimiko, shocked. This way, I can train and look for Tsunade at the same time, said Naruto, smiling. Well, good luck with that, said Kimiko. I need to get back to my duties. All right. Hinata-chan has 3 months. Starting now, you 500 will be scouting the entirety of High no Kuni to look for Shinju Tsunade. Understood, Naruto exclaimed. HAI, replied his clones. Good, responded Naruto. Now go. And with that, the 500 clones were off. No, said Kakashi. But why? Exclaimed Guy. Our youthful challenges always brighten your day. Not today, Guy. I need to help Naruto, and you remember what happened yesterday, said Kakashi seriously. Guy flinched at that. He remembered how much force it took to hold Naruto down and how astonishing it was that he got free. He remembered seeing Naruto about to murder Neji. Seeing that red cloak sent shivers down his spine. All right, Kakadash, started Guy. Suddenly, the ground started to shake, making most shop owners run inside. Is it an earthquake? asked Guy. Not sure, said Kakashi turning around. But whatever it is, we need to be care. Holy shit, he yelled. Guy turned around to see what Kakashi was looking at. He turned around and his eyes widened. He saw Kakashi's book on the ground. That had never happened. Guy looked up and his jaw dropped. They saw 500 Naruto clones running through the streets and over the roofs. The two Konoha Jonin jumped to higher ground to get a better view. Naruto, what's the occasion? Called Kakashi. One of the Naruto clones turned around with a serious look on his face. Boss sent us to retrieve Tsunade. Hinata-chan has 3 months to live, and this is the only way. They've already replaced her heart, but she's still in critical condition, yelled the clone. Kakashi and Guy's eyes widened. 3 months. They both thought. Guy, I need a dash. Go, I understand, said Guy before Kakashi could finish. Naruto sat on the chair in Hinata's room. It was quiet, and you could barely tell he was moving, almost as if he was asleep. But if you looked and listened close enough, you could see Naruto's body and hear his whimpers. Naruto had held his tears in when he was explaining to Kimiko, but now he had to let it all out. Hinata-chan, I can know you see can't hear in me, but I wanted you to know that everything I do F from N now on is F for YU. I'll take down N Neji. H hurt him as much as he H hurt you. M make him suffer L like you D did. Why? WL it's kinda stupid. I don't know if you remember, but when I was 6, I killed a mob TH that was after me. I almost went insane. You until you showed up. You helped me. I don't know what I would VE done W without you. TH that is why I do everything for you. I love you. And with that, Naruto exited the hospital, tears streaming down his cheeks. Cheers, yelled 3 men. The first had a scarred face and a pineapple haircut. The second had long, dirty blonde hair and was wearing a sleeveless red trench coat. The third was a big, red-haired man with markings on his cheeks. These were the previous generation's Inoshikacho trio. Nara Shikaku, Yamanaka Inoichi, and Akimichi Choza. So, Shika got into the Chunin finals, asked Inoichi. Sure did, said Shikaku. It's troublesome. Now I have to train him, or the wife's gonna kill me. Ino's still upset that she lost to Sakura. Says she's gonna start training hard, said Inoichi. Choji said the same thing. He said that their Inoshikacho will surpass us, said Choza with a chuckle. Bang. Everyone in the brothel looked towards the door only to see it knocked down and a silhouette of Naruto. Everyone, out, he said monotone, releasing an amount of ki that shocked even the Inoshikacho trio. After feeling the immense killer intent, the trio watched Naruto walk up to the bar and grab a stool. Hey kid, why you're not old enough to be here, said the bartender hesitantly. Shut up, growled Naruto. Get me a drink. I'm in a really bad mood. The bartender gulped and handed a full bottle of sake to the 13-year-old before he ran out of the brothel. Now the only people left were Naruto and the Inoshikacho. I thought I said to get out, said Naruto. Troublesome, muttered Shikaku. Naruto, right? Shika's told me a lot about you. Says you're one of the most positive people he knows. Even after he found out about your mask. Shut up. He is always telling me that no matter what, you'll always keep going and never give up. To me, this looks like giving up. What the hell happened? Said Shikaku. Shut up. Although he did tell me something interesting from yesterday. Says you freaked out when Hyuga Hinata was nearly fatally injured. Maybe that has something to do with it. Egged on the Jonin commander. Shut the fuck up, yelled the irate redhead. What the hell would you know? Everyone in the fucking village gets to live a happy life. Why can't I? You talk to me like that trying to get everything out of me. Thinking it'll make me feel better, but it fucking doesn't. I love her, and she's almost gone, so shut the fuck you dash, yelled Naruto before he was stopped. Shikaka wrapped Naruto in a hug, his chest pressed up on Naruto's head. Naruto, I'm not the best father. Shika's probably told you that I'm really lazy, but I'm one of the smartest people in Konoha, and whenever my family is being isolated, I make them let everything out. I don't do it to be mean, but I do it to help them. Now, I want you to tell me how you feel after letting everything out, spoke Shikaku in a fatherly manner. Be better, responded Naruto. Now, don't go wasting your life away like us 3 old guys. Go fight for her, defend her, said Shikaku. Naruto nodded. Thank you, Shikaka-san, he said. Naruto walked out of the building and body flickered away. Choza looked at Shikaku and chuckled. How do you always manage to do that? Shikaku looked at his friends and smirked. I am the Jonin commander. Naruto sat on the top of his father's head contemplating the past hours. I really am hopeless, he thought. You don't say, said Kurama. Oh, just shut up, thought Naruto. Kid, like the 2 people before me have said, just fight for her honor and help her recover. You're the only one who can. And I'll be damned if my kit's vixen dies, said Kurama. Thanks, Kurama. Who are you talking to? Asked a voice. Naruto spun around in fright, not noticing anyone. AHFUSK. He saw Kakashi standing there reading his porn. That's the second time today you've scared the hell out of me, said Naruto. It'll be 3 by tonight, said Kakashi. Huh? Anyway, I know the day is nearly over, but I wanted to introduce you to your other teacher for the month, said Kakashi. Okay, responded Naruto. All right, you can come out now, called Kakashi. Naruto's face fell as he saw an old man with red markings on his cheeks and long, spiky hair come out of the trees. He had on an olive green GI and a red, sleeveless trench coat. He also had a scroll on his back as well as red wooden sandals. Nay, Kaka and I, who's the perv? Asked Naruto. You little GKI. I'm no pervert. I'm the Toad Sage of Mount Myaboku, said the old man. Yeah? And I'm the guy with a non-catatonic love interest, said Naruto, turning around looking down at the hospital. What? Asked the so-called Toad Sage. Don't ask about it, Jiraiya-sama, said Kakashi, putting his hand on the man's shoulder. So you're Jiraiya? Eh? Well, lucky you. Unfortunately for me, what I said isn't, said Naruto. What the hell is the Gaki talking about? Thought Jiraiya. Naruto, as I said, Jiraiya-sama and I will be training you this month. And as you and I talked about earlier, we'll be working on your Scorch release. Halo Hurricane Jet Black Arrow Style 0, explained Kakashi. What? Asked Jiraiya as Naruto just smirked. Nice name, said the genin. Yeah, I think Sensei would have called it that, said Kakashi, trying not to let it slip to Jiraiya that Naruto knew who his parents were. All right, I'm confused. Kakashi, you know what I do when I'm confused, so I'm going to go do what I do when I'm confused, so goodbye, said Jiraiya dramatically as he disappeared in a puff of smoke. All right, I'll be going too, said Naruto. Bye, said Kakashi, still reading his book. Naruto opened the door to his apartment and looked at his messy couch. He didn't even clean up, he thought. Naruto grabbed a leftover onigiri from his fridge and microwaved it. While eating, he began to think of the next month. Kurama, anything else that I should work on this month? He asked his companion. Actually, there is. And that Toad Sage will be helping us with it. It'll help you a lot in the long run, responded the fox. All right, thought Naruto. The rest of the meal was silent. Naruto finished eating and went to brush his teeth. He went into his room and got changed. When he got in bed, he closed his eyes, thinking about the next month. Boo, a resounding "AHH. Fuck you, Kakashi," was heard in Konoha that night.